Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Welcome back in, Panther fans. You're listening to the C3 Panthers Podcast. Tonight's show, the Carolina Panthers must protect the bank or get nixed. The Panthers are coming off a win, their first road win in a while. They beat Seattle Seahawks on the road and were able to run the ball effectively, putting up over 200 yards. But now they're coming back home, and Steve Wilks has demanded that the Panthers protect the bank. He's calling on Panther fans to get to Bank of America and prevent those terrible towels. We don't need a win stolen from us by the Steelers. Hell no. The Carolina Panthers are in a race for the NFC South. Steve Wilks is racing to get that job. And who knows what's going to happen as we continue to play this way. Boy, it's been an exciting season, and I can't believe I'm back excited. My name's Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast on the internet, and I always do it with my wheelman, Cody Lashney.
Tony Dunn, we're playing meaningful football in the month of December, baby. I am pumped. I literally don't think that we've ever been in this situation for as long as I've been on the show. That's how new this whole situation is, man. Dude, we have so much to talk about tonight. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into town. But if you look forward, the Panthers actually have a very promising road to the playoffs. And that's something we never thought that we would be saying in the month of December, man. But then on top of that, Steve Wilks has put out the call telling the fans to protect the bank. We already know the Steelers fans are going to be out in droves. So it's time for us Panther fans to do our damn thing. And you know what? It starts right here on a Tuesday night with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know them and love them. It's our guy, Drew, Joey the Blind Panther, Esquivel, Chad Howell, JD864, John B. Jenkins, Ken Folk NC, Lawrence Trevette, Matt Knows Nothing, Michael Johnson, Pad One Panther, Panther Pickle, Shane Reed, Tim Estes, the Cardiac Cat 13, and Underground West, and the Real Zero Chill. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. We got football to talk about. Let's roll.
As usual, we've got a ton to talk about, and we want to hear your thoughts. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We'll get your call on the C3 Panthers Podcast. All you got to do is leave a message. If you're unfamiliar with it, we'll play it, man, and we rock. We rock. We got a lot to talk about tonight, like we said, from DJ Moore's injury to Dayvion Nixon being waived to Luke Kuechly not denying or not refuting or ruling out, should I say, that he may even be a coach under Steve Wilks if offered the job. We've got a preview between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Carolina Panthers, and also we've got some interesting news from around the NFL, from Marcus Mariota to injuries happen. Boy, we've got a locked and loaded show, and we're going to do it again with you know what? We've got more people to introduce. What the hell am I doing? CK, the man with the golden pipes. Are you ready to talk about the Carolina Panthers?
You know, I'm as ready as I can be. If there's anything to be said about the Carolina Panthers and the keep pounding mentality, I have COVID, and I'm here to talk about the Carolina Panthers because I am so excited about where they are. I'm excited about where we're going, and I am so optimistic that we're about to win this division. I have a $20 bet that I put in on the Panthers weeks ago when the odds were 37 plus 3,700. FanDuel is trying to get me to cash out for $125 right now. They're trying to they're trying to give me 6 times my money, and I'm like, no. I believe in these Panthers. I think I'm going to win the $700 that if the Panthers win the division, I'm going to be making a little extra cheddar on the side as well. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm so excited about the Carolina Panthers. It's just it's fun to be in this position again. It's not something that even halfway through the year we thought was a possibility.
Love it.
Greg, if the Carolina Panthers do win the division, you can put a playoff game in the bank. That's right. Literally, not in the bank for a win, but it would be a home game. And as we watch Tom Brady's demise, I was the last holdout. I think I was the last holdout, but I watched a man die on TV this past week. The Carolina Panthers, the rest of the league or the rest of the division's in turmoil, Greg. From the Bucks to Marcus Mariota leaving the team. This is the stars. They're aligning for the Carolina Panthers. Muted.
Always. It's the playoff beard, man.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
So
Fear the beard, baby.
Be down to hear about Super Bowl. So we'll see how that goes. Man, I'm so excited to talk Carolina Panthers football. You know what I'm not excited to talk about anymore is Baker Mayfield. The separation period is over. It's a full-on divorce now. I'm done. I'm not
too late. We have to mention it. He's starting this week.
Well, but I don't have to defend him or try to defend what he's done here. He doesn't make any sense anymore. Not for me in Carolina. My quarterbacks are Sam Darnold, PJ Walker, and Matt Corral. And those are who I'll support. I'm not even worried about Baker Mayfield anymore. So I saw people in the chat saying I sound like Skip Bayless the other day, and then I listened to it and I was like, I do sound like Skip Bayless. That's gross. Like I had to take a shower. It was crazy. But
Mama just killed a man, JD64 said. It's over. It's over. Guys, we need your help. Share the show, give a thumbs up. Tomorrow night, I'll tease the guest and some stuff. Don't worry, the beat check's coming back tomorrow night. We've had some lively Friday free-for-alls. We had a really fun Saturday simulation this past week, in the post-game show this upcoming week, I'm sure, will be a blast. Before we get into the show, don't forget tonight's show is brought to you by Manscaped. It's the #1 men's grooming product line, particularly those for guys trying to keep it tight below the belt. That's right. You need to be ready when opportunity strikes. Just like the Carolina Panthers are ready at this moment to take over this division. If you get the opportunity, you want to be clean, smelling good, and looking good for that moment. And you can do that with Manscaped products, from the Lawnmower 4.0 to the Weed Whacker for your nose and ears, and my favorite, the ball deodorant to keep your junk dry. Use the promo code Panthers. That's right, the promo code Panthers. You'll get 20% off your order and free shipping. There's still time, hopefully, to get that in before the Christmas. For Christmas, that's what you need to do. So let's go ahead and jump into the show. Go ahead, please subscribe. Check us out on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify. Give us a rating wherever you're at. Leave comments on the YouTube channel. I've been getting drudged, bro, in the comments from the post-game show, from sounding like I'm arguing with a 5-year-old. One guy said, he said, I feel sorry for CK, Cody, and Greg as they have to argue with a 5-year-old for my position, I guess, on this past Sunday. One guy told me, do you know anything about football? You know what? I love your comments, even when they're negative. I did refrain from saying, do you know anything about spelling? As you said, DOSE and some different things. But hey, I'm sensitive too. We need you guys to get the show numbers up, though. The plateau happened in October. The dip took the turn in November. But we on the comeback, baby, in December. Get with us, folks. Get on the longest running Panthers podcast. Be a friend. Tell a friend, as Pat McAfee says. Let's get into the show, Cody. The big news is Steve Wilkes celebrating after this game and telling his players, we've got to go home and protect the bank. We don't lose at home. Steve Wilkes, this guy, master motivator, I feel like he's done everything right from on the field, but really he has united a team. He has created energy among a fan base, and he is not a dummy. He knows he is campaigning for his job, and he's doing all the things that he knows the Carolina Panther fans want to hear, from getting the fans in the stadium to getting loud to, I mean, he's doing it all. He's doing it all.
Absolutely all of it. And then on top of it, you know what he's doing that's more important than any of it? He's winning football games, man. Look, we are back in contention for the NFC South. We are number 2 in the division. Now, I'm sorry. If you thought we were going to be number 2 in the division, especially after that Cincinnati game, oh, man, we were in the dumps at that point in time. But, man, we have rallied. This team has never stopped believing in itself. And, man, I'll be damned if Coach Wilks doesn't have this team absolutely firing on all cylinders. And there's a culture thing to be said here. He is not only trying to implement the culture in the locker room, but this man is also trying to implement the culture of the fan base. And by the way, who better to talk about this Panther fan base and what it means and how fervent it actually is than Steve Wilkes himself? Some of his words at his most recent press conference.
Stadium when you couldn't even hear yourself talk because it was so loud. You know, success we had here in the past. So I am
great sex.
And, you know, for our fans to show up in mass this week so we can have that same atmosphere when we play the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've been in that stadium.
I mean, absolutely. Look, he wants the atmosphere. He wants the fans back in the building. And there's no reason for us not to be. We know that the Steelers travel well. We know that there's going to be a lot of Steelers fans. But that is a team on the decline. The Steelers are not the Steelers of old. They're coming into this game. And listen, they have a lot of concerns that we're going to talk about later. But look, if we're going to talk about protecting the bank, well, this needs to be something that the fan base jumps on. And that's exactly what the C3 Panthers podcast has done. Isn't that right, Tony?
That's right. You guys, for the C3 super fans, it's a small way you can support the podcast. You can subscribe to the show. You can leave a comment, and you can call in at 252-228-5098. But some people feel cool enough to become members of the C3 super fan club. And that is for $1.99 a month. You can support the show. And what this does is it helps us reinvest in the show, continue to build Panthers Nation, do a lot of giveaways. In fact, I got one that we did at this to a caller, and I'll highlight this in just a moment, who this was. The winner was that got a loyalty badge for the Carolina Panthers. But we do that to reward our fans. For $1.99 a month, you can contribute to the show, and you get access to custom emojis and loyalty badges. I know it seems small, but it's fun. Tonight, we added a new one. The bank is locked up. The bank is locked up. So all you got to do is use the bank emoji and show that you are ready to shut down these Steelers, guys. Consider being a C3 super fan today for just $1.99 a month. Next up on the docket, though, we're continuing through with this, is that a lot of the Panthers' success has come from their ability to run the ball. And really, actually, before we even get to that, CK, you mentioned, I'm going to switch you up one just so we can see your face.
Yeah.
CK, you mentioned that you had these odds, and they're trying to buy you out of it. First, that tells us they're concerned about the Carolina Panthers and that the odds and the money is moving against them.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's interesting to me about this is that the Carolina Panthers are on a run right now. Probably that was not only was unexpected by me, but technically there's a chance for us to finish with a winning record, right? There's 4 more games. The Carolina Panthers could possibly win 9 games after one of the most atrocious starts you can imagine. 8 games is reasonable. This run, the Panthers are making the run at the right time, while the Falcons have lost, I think, 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6, and the Buccaneers are just imploding. Man, this is good news for the Carolina Panthers' quest for the NFC South Division Championship. It's 24. It feels and smells like 2014 again.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean, the thing that I love about that FanDuel thing is there's a part of me that wants to cash in, guaranteed, make $100, move on, right? But when you look at the odds have shifted so much that I'm unbelievably confident that the Panthers are going to find a way to pull this out. And if nothing else, I think we're going to win this week, and then those odds are going to go up even higher because here's the thing, and I want you guys to look at the remaining schedule. I think this is an important key to what we've got dealing with here. The Panthers' remaining schedule is we face the Steelers, the Lions, the Bucks, and then the Saints. Okay. Now the Steelers, they're going to be having Trubisky coming into town,
or maybe not even. Maybe they're talking even Mason Rudolph, which is wild. I didn't even find that out until moments before the show.
So you have that. So let's just go ahead and say there's not a guaranteed win on any of these, but let's say we win that. Okay. And then let's say Detroit, we lose that game because they're playing very well. They're listed as like the number 10 best team in the NFL right now in power rankings. So they're doing a lot better than they did at the beginning of the year. I think we're very comparable, and I think we match up a lot better than what they've faced in the past. But nonetheless, that let's even say that we lose that game. Well, look at the Bucks remaining schedule. They have the Bengals.
It's so hard.
The Bengals this week. Now they have another win that you can probably chalk up to them going against the Cardinals without Kyler Murray. So they're going to be facing Kyler Murray. So that game against the Panthers in week 17 is going to be incredibly important because if we win that game, then we will be in the lead. And then we can go and we would be in control of our destiny, even if we were to lose one of these games. I think there's a pretty good chance when you look at the remaining schedule that we're going to have, even if we have just the one loss, I think we still have a great chance of winning this division. So there's a lot of things you got to fall our way, but man, I'm telling you, I'm excited. And if you're a Panthers fan and you're rooting for anything other than success right now, I think right now you just need to go find somebody else to root for. We don't want you as a fan. If you're that type of fan who's sitting there saying we want to shit on this team, we want to tank, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that mentality. You guys can go the fuck on. I'm ready to move forward with a winning mentality, and that's what we're doing here with the Carolina Panthers this year.
I love that, man. Tell them, CK. There's no one to tank for. There's no reason to tank. And listen, if this team is going to believe in itself after what we've been through this season, damn it, man. You need to believe in them too. Forget about the draft. We haven't been playing meaningful December football in a long time. This is another clip by Steve Wilks. And if this doesn't give you goosebumps and make you believe in this team, well, damn it, I don't know what will.
To our fans, who I feel like are the best fans in NFL football.
Extended version of that clip.
Definitely want those guys to come out and support this football team in high fashion and to keep those Steelers fans out of the Bank of America Stadium. I've been around here. I've been in that stadium when you couldn't even hear yourself talk because it was so loud. Success we had here in the past. So I am asking, and for our fans to show up in mass this week. That same atmosphere when we play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Do you think we can do it? Do you think we can actually have? Do you think this call to arms by Steve Wilks will actually work? Will we actually get the Panther fans back in the building?
The problem is,
Greg, if you were okay, no, you're not.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that I realized that a minute ago. The problem is, if there's any team that has maybe more fandoms show up than the Panthers, it's probably the Steelers. There's always a ton of Steelers fans there. I don't know if this particular one will, but he's winning a lot of people over slowly but surely. It's not going to be a flipping the light switch type deal, but I'll tell you what, man, it's been such an emotional roller coaster of a season because I was on when we were 1-4. I was on all right, we're done. Our season's over. I think I even said it like after the fourth game. I was like, man,
well, it was then.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
and now I'm to the point where with that mindset, I should feel like we have so much to lose if we don't make to the playoffs or at least win a playoff game. But now I feel like even if we just do that, man, we still have nothing to lose. Like I'm with this team all the way. Like I'm not even thinking about a draft pick right now. I want to worry about that next season. Like let that fall where it may,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this real quick. Let me see if I can search by.
While you're searching, then just tell me whenever you find it, Tony. Yeah, I think one of the things that's important to talk about is not only are the Panthers, the underdogs and with the little engine that could, but it's reasonable to say that it's a very likely outcome now that the Panthers do win this division. Dare I say, we might even be the favorite to win this division, and it's all because of our rushing attack. Right now, the Carolina Panthers have a three-headed hydra in their offensive backfield that goes by the name of Donta Foreman, Raheem Blackshear, and Chuba Hubbard. And I think that's important to contextualize when we're talking about our opponents, coming up. The Panthers lead the league in rushing attempts, 199 between the tackles, and rank second in rushing yards between the tackles at 926 since week 7. We are running the ball at a high clip. Our running backs are all three of them going over 50 yards in a game. And go back to this last slide. This is the run defense of all four of our opponents left. The best one is the one that we're going to face, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's going to be a tough test. They're ranked number 15. But then when you go on to Detroit, as CK said, they're a resurgent team. But right now, they're ranked 26th in run defense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we've already beaten this year, are ranked 20th. And the Ants are 19th. And we've already beaten them this year. I mean, even if the Carolina Panthers were to go 3-1, we are still in a position to win our division, man. That's crazy. That would put us as the 4th seed in the playoffs. And we're going to talk about some of these playoff teams here in a little while. But it just seems like all of the teams that we're getting ready to play, they're made for us, man. These are money matchups.
Well, besides Tampa Bay, we're the only team in the division. Like, us and Tampa Bay are the only team that holds our future completely to us. If we win out, we're in. No other team can say that because we have the tiebreaker with
everyone.
Both the other teams, with everyone else. So, like those are the only two teams that can say that if we win out, we're in.
If you guys want to know what Steve Wilkes was talking about, here's what it sounded like at the NFC Championship game. Hold on. Let me see. This is the one.
Yeah, we're gonna Super
Bowl. I'm gonna live up every. They the most intense sporting event I've ever attended. Not saying it's the most intense one that has ever existed, but when we were in that stadium, first of all, we just beat that ass, dude. Like, we beat the Cardinals' ass. It was awesome. Like, from the very first snap, from the very first second of the game to the end of the game, we were just beating that tail. It was so loud in there, and so people were having so much fun. You could feel the stadium flexing. Like, it almost was a little scary because we were way up top. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, holy crap, this whole damn thing could come down at this point. That's what he's referring to when not even being able to hear yourself think. I could say that there was probably some times like that in Bank of America. If I was going to probably guess, I know that was a big one. I'm also sure that Monday night game against the Patriots was a big one. I'm trying to think of what other games at home would have been that intense and exciting of an environment. Boy, what a maybe Philly. I think we played Philly at home in that 2015 season, and that was a comeback game, or Indy. But I tell you, that NFC Championship, we want to feel that excitement again. But us getting to the playoffs would feel like getting to the Super Bowl for me this year. So exciting stuff there for the Carolina Panthers in their quest to take the NFC South. It's getting realer and more plausible by the minute. And CK, I'm going to implore you, do not take the money, no matter what they say, because you felt good enough to place that bet a few weeks ago when the odds were so long against you.
Yep.
Now you should be the only thing is, just don't think about it. Don't think about the money.
Right.
Put the ticket away, hide it, because boy, you start looking at them prize picks too hard. You start to think you got it in the bank.
I know.
Yeah, we need it in the bank, though. We need the
worst
playoff
case scenario, you lose $20, right?
Yeah. What we got next, Cody? Oh, he is. All right. So
No,
the
I mean,
Panthers rushing attack, man.
yeah, I wanted to talk about, how we feel about the Panthers being a run-centric attack going forward. We're not asking Sam to do too much. I feel like normally we're talking about the quarterback, and we've been on the hell of a carousel for the past few years and this season, man. From PJ Walker to Baker Mayfield, Jacob Eason had a whole series for us this year. So, what I'm wondering is like us being kind of a one-dimensional football team, right? We're taking a lot of shots off of play action, and by the way, we're one of the best play action teams in the NFL. I'll find that tweet here in a second.
Why weren't we doing this earlier? I mean, and
right.
not just running the ball, but the type of balance or the type of passing attack you're going to have. Even with Baker, you would thought that, man, it would be best. We wanted to see him work under center.
Right. Was CMC?
Maybe we were just wrong on that.
Like, were we depending too much on that?
Maybe you don't feel like under center is a good thing for CMC. I wonder because they like to in San Francisco, they also like to put him a lot to the left of the quarterback. So I wonder if like that there is some sort of game theory they got with Christian McCaffrey that worries you, so you're not, I guess, tipping off that it's a run play or a pass play, whatever. But Chuba Hubbard been getting more involved in this running attack, and that has set up the pass, Cody not set up the pass. That's been interesting. Chuba Hubbard kind of trying to save his
so I wonder if like that there is some sort of game theory they got with Christian McCaffrey that worries you, so you're not, I guess, tipping off that it's a run play or a pass play, whatever.
But I hear that.
Chuba Hubbard.
I thought it was something on mine. I'm like, where the fuck
I hear that
is
too.
it coming from? And now you're muted.
I hear nothing now.
It was my phone. I opened Twitter up. This is what happens when you Bluetooth your phone to the soundboard, is you can't do anything else by accident. And there was a tweet someone was sharing. I was sharing a tweet of someone sharing our tweet. And then I had to listen to myself loop in my own head. But no, talk about Chuba Hubbard for a second.
I mean, look, I don't want to pat myself on the back.
Oh,
but I'm going to, dude.
He's not good, dude.
Yes, he is, man. Listen, you don't give up on young football players. Guess what? Young football players fuck up from time to time. But one of the reasons why we love Steve Wilkes so much? He's an adult. And he knows that young players grow and learn and become better football players. And then you have to hone that talent and cultivate their skill set so they become better football players. Now you're starting to see better things from Shi Smith. They never gave up on him after all those drops.
He had one catch.
All right, but so what? He had the touchdown. They're not going away from him. He's a part of our offense. And it's the same thing with Chuba, Tony. They are going to run Chuba Hubbard between the tackles. And you know what? He's not bad at all. He runs heavy. He keeps his feet moving. He doesn't generally go down after first contact. Chuba Hubbard is a great downhill running, between the tackles type of running back. He doesn't have to be a Christian McCaffrey type of player that it all catches out of the backfield. He doesn't have to do that. He just has to run hard, follow his tackles, and continue to fight for yards. And you know what? He has been doing that, and he's been looking damn good. He's a part of three-headed hydra that the Panthers are employing at running back right now.
Whatever.
Oh my God. Just whatever.
Chuba Hubbard was given plenty of opportunity by Matt Rhule. And here's the thing: is Chuba Hubbard has always somewhat run the ball effectively, but every running back in the history of the world can somewhat run the ball effectively. It's about blocking. It's about not fumbling, and he's been terrible at catching the ball. So look, you can't be like, "Oh, this guy's had." I mean, he's gonna have to string a little bit more together. And the Shi Smith stuff, come on, you can't be like, "Oh, Steve Wilkes believes in people." That wow, that's all of a sudden while they're doing. If you know what, the best case for that actually is Terrace Marshall Jr.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
So I give it. I mean, so like if you real like is that just looked like, but here's the thing is I've seen plenty of running backs in the league just as good as Chuba Hubbard, that are washouts in 1 or 2 years. So you know what? I'm glad this mug is actually finally doing a little something. The Carolina Panthers, though, and you know what? Is because Deontay Foreman is not gonna be able to do it all by himself. I do think another thing though that we need to think about, even though the fans came so hard after me about my takes against like that, I wasn't just crazily impressed with the run game. They brought some good things. Some commenters brought up some good things. Is like run the ball in the fourth quarter is a big deal. So like that's like bludgeoning people to death. So the other thing though, is that we playing from ahead. Yeah. And that gives you the ability to run the ball. Is that I don't know if it's just like game plan all the time that says that like we want to run the ball. If we were down 14 points, then Sam Darnold would have to be more part of that game plan. So look, the Carolina Panthers won in Seattle in the way that this team and teams that are not great offensive teams are going to have to win. That is by defense creating short fields, the running attack sustaining some long drives. The first drive was 7 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
You keep the ball out of their hands. In fact, if anything, man, there were some moments we had a couple of lulls where they had a little bit too much success on the offensive side for the Seahawks that were concerning towards the end of the second quarter, late in the game. Not concerning, but problematic. Geno still got his a little bit. He got like 240 yards or whatever. But the defense created opportunities. And, man, that allows you to run the ball, and that takes a lot of pressure off of Sam Darnold. We'll see if he has to come back against the team, how that's going to look, But, this is Steve Wilkes got these boys cooking right now, and even Chuba Hubbard's doing good. But,
well, go ahead.
I was just going to transition to the next thing. Now, I was going to say every team's dealing with injuries, though, and the Carolina Panthers have been somewhat healthy, I think, in many ways throughout this season. Other than, they've had 3 injured quarterbacks. I guess you couldn't say somewhat healthy there. And Dante Jackson's been out for the season. But I think we finally got one of our stars, DJ Moore, suffered an ankle injury. Some people were saying knee, but I think it's an ankle against the Seahawks game. I think he was unable to finish the game. But good news is it seems like that there is not significant damage. And that this is not a major injury, but just an actual knee sprain, Cody.
Yeah, it's a knee sprain. He's considered day-to-day right now. This is from Adam Schefter, who added it's nothing significant. So we're going to need DJ down the stretch. We're really going to need him. He's he didn't get a lot of action recently.
Oh, no, we got Shaq Smith, dude. We're fine.
Man, shut up. Shut up. You sound like a salty girlfriend with your feelings hurt. Go sulk in the corner. Listen, what I'm telling you is that our offense right now is built in a perfect kind of way. And I put this up. This is from Anish Shiroff. He's a part of our commentating team now.
He's the new play-by-play guy.
Yeah, starting week 10, 58% of the Panthers' pass yards have come off of play action. No one else in the NFL is above 50% in that time frame. And it's simple. Run it successfully, and it sets up play action. And this is my point. G Baby is in the chat room talking about, Sam only threw 120 yards. Yeah, that's right.
He did.
Yeah, he didn't. But you know what? It was still enough, wasn't it? You don't have to
scored 30 points. They scored 30 points.
And also, if you don't trust Sam Darnold, why would you want him throwing 30-plus times anyway? If anything, it should be a good thing that that we're running the ball effectively enough that we're not going to have to put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands all the time.
Especially early.
Yeah.
Especially early for Sam Darnold, what I mean is with the reps. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. It was like, he came in short kind of news, I guess, after he was activated and they cut Baker and comes in. Hadn't played in a long time, and then you get this game. And so you also are knocking off rust. So you don't want to put guys into positions too that set them up for failure. And nobody is up here saying that Sam Darnold is a balling ass quarterback. This is actually how the Carolina Panthers are going to have to win games because they're not a great team, right? They're not great at really anything. Maybe the defense is a little bit better. We give them credit for. There's some stats we'll talk about later, but this offense certainly isn't great, and it's definitely more one-dimensional than we prefer it to be. So this team is going to have to win by special teams, defensive turnovers, and rushing the ball and controlling the time of possession. And that's how they've won so far. And maybe that is going to create some confidence for Sam Darnold in these moments. And Cody, I'm just frankly just more, but kind of befuddled in a way, is like why this hasn't been more of the Carolina Panthers passing attack for quite some time. Particularly, it seems it benefits a team that isn't great downfield, and you have to just try to help them get separation by creating doubt on the defense and setting up those plays.
Yeah. I mean, we were even able to run the football on third down. Like on third down, we were running the football and picking up first down.
You can't do that though, but for so long. But like we can't do that for so long. We understand that.
It's not a long-term plan, but the fact that we're able to do it and we were able to pick up first downs, one, it's a testament to our offensive line, who I said last time we were live, I think it's the best Panthers offensive line ever. Now, all of you who were fans before 2011, that was when I jumped on board as a Panther fan. If you have another offensive line in your head, fine. We can argue about it. But
yeah, you probably say 03. You say the Super Bowl run in 03.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean,
is
sure.
Because they bludgeoned people on the ground that year, or those couple of years. I think that may have been Jordan Gross's rookie season. No, he might have been later, actually.
How about this? If it's not the best, it's damn near top three. It's a top three offensive line that the Panthers have ever had. And I honestly think, you asked, and then I'll pass.
Great. Oh, there's no doubt about that.
I'll pass the mic to Greg here after this. I really do think one of the catalysts for what has made this team change so much from earlier this season to this season was the introduction of Bradley Bozeman. If you look at this guy, he is a house. He is wide. He's a big dude. He's strong as hell. And the center, one of the most important positions on the offensive line. They're calling out the mic. They're looking at coverages. But it's part of the reason why you're able to run the football between the tackles effectively. And I think that when you add Bozeman on top of Wilks, on top of now you're not just dependent on McCaffrey. Now you're giving the ball to Deonta Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, Raheem Blackshear. Now we have a versatile rushing attack that can do a lot of different things, and I think we're better off for it. And that's why we are a legitimate contender right now. You heard me, G-Baby. We are a legitimate contender. Get at me, bro.
Look, I will say I agree with you on almost everything you say there. The only thing is I'm kind of starting to understand what Tony's saying about this, because while I think we had a fantastic rushing game this Saturday or this Sunday, I'm not ready to say we have a three-headed monster yet. Now, if it works out like it did this week, you're right. That is balanced, and that works great. And having three of them, especially to be able to alternate like that, will keep everybody fresh and it'll be perfect for us. But I'm just not ready to say we have a three-headed monster yet. We have the possibility for it, but I don't think it's quite there because I haven't seen enough from Blackshear. And
yeah, he's not really been part of the running attack yet. It's really this has been the Deonta Foreman show.
Exactly.
And Chuba's starting to get more in the mix because why is he more in the mix? Partially because Deonta Foreman's been dealing with an ankle injury, right? Or kind of so you can see that is no one's actually super celebrating the running backs. We're just actually saying that the running attack has been productive. And it has definitely been the case in all the wins this season. And like Cody says, is a lot of this changed. The big changes, you remember when the Carolina Panthers fired Matt Rhule, one of the big changes, though, was Bradley Bozeman coming in and starting center. Now, he might have done it in Rhule's last game. I'm not sure about that. But Bradley Bozeman, whether or not you think he's the reason for it, we've been better as an offense. An offensive line since he's been in it. So I don't know if we watched every play or whatever you could determine, but we've been a formidable offensive line since he's been there. You definitely haven't seen it regress by any means. On top of that, his wife and him, I think not only are they just honestly great people and very cool people, which that's why we partnered with there and supported their charity in the C3 first annual bi-week charity drive. I bet you can, actually, I know that link's still live. If you go back and watch it, you can access that and still donate and support their charity. She's very good with the fans. She knows how to help promote his image, right? Like, so I'm sure he's busy doing football stuff all the time. She is definitely supporting him in campaigning, right? Because this is money, right? This is like every game he plays well is the opportunity for him to get a contract, and also ingratiating yourself with the fans helps. It does. Ask TD, ask Greg Olson. He is this, like he said, somebody pointed out, he likes pancakes. You know, when I watched this video, I didn't even get it. I didn't even get it at first. Right?
What do you mean you didn't, man?
At first, no, I was just like, oh, they're trying to make a cool video or something. Like, I wasn't even thinking. I was just rolling thinking this, but pancake blocks. Didn't, you know, like I just didn't think pancake blocks. Like he likes pancakes. I was just thinking about the food and the beer and Trench Mafia, this stuff.
JD says pancakes and beer. That's a hell of a dinner.
But like he likes pancake and mugs, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's a great reference right there. And then just one more thing is this. Let's see if I can pull this one up. Is look at this. You see stories like this right here. Those 10 seconds of a player's time can mean so much to a kid. He stopped and talked to this kid. Look, this guy Kendrose says, "Thank you, Bradley Bozeman, for kidding with my son after the game and letting him have your glove." He said it was the greatest football experience ever, and he can't stop talking about it. You made such a special memory for him, and I was thrilled to share these pics with him. Legend. And so look, he's doing all the right things, bro.
Yeah.
You want to talk about paying somebody like his? He might be, frankly, one of the most important free agents that the Panthers could be targeting going forward. I mean, there's zero answer without him. Pat Eflin's in the last of his deal. You would have to either draft or go get somebody else. I'm sitting here trying to work this deal out right now if I'm Scott Fitterer.
Yeah. How about this? There isn't a more important free agent than Bradley Bozeman. I mean, have we not seen enough? Like, if we're legitimately sitting here on the C3 Panthers podcast saying that this is one of the best Panthers offensive line ever, that we finally built that wall like we have been chanting for years, not related to politics, relating to this offensive line, and now we finally have it, and you're not going to do everything to keep it intact? That's first things first. He's a Panther guy. He's, I can very easily see Bradley Bozeman coming on our podcast sometime in the future. He loves to interact with the fans. His wife is fantastic. He fits right into the culture that the Panthers are trying to build. I think it's a no-brainer. I think we must re-sign him. Before we move on, I just want to go around to the three of you real quick. What is your level of concern about DJ Moore going forward? Is this an injury that's going to follow him the rest of the season? Do you think he runs a risk to re-injure himself? How are we thinking, boys?
I don't know enough. It's a knee sprain, right?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, I mean, look, they had some sort of they said ankle, right? Was it ankle?
No, knee sprain. Knee sprain.
Knee sprain.
I don't know enough about it to be able to tell you, to be honest with you. I think that if you have an injury like that, it sounds like a sprain. I know if you sprain your ankle, you always run a bigger risk of hurting it, in the future a lot easier. I don't know if a knee is the same way, but I would suspect that anytime you injure yourself, you're going to run a higher risk of re-injuring it. I just don't know how serious it is or exactly how it will limit his mobility.
Hey, real quick, you were right. Just real quick. You were right. From Josh Rodriguez, $2 love bomb. It says, "Hey C3, it's JJ. Love your show. You are all truly great. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for that super chat." Go ahead, Tony.
Actually, I got. Let me see here. I got a couple more super fans to call out. Billy on Twitter at PantherFan2222 is the fan who was on the road to the game last week and went to the game in Seattle. who called into the show. We're going to give him that Panthers badge of loyalty as a fan. So shout out to Billy on that. And also Josh Matinzo is going to be at the game. We will not be. I don't believe any of us are going at the game. Also, obviously, CK can't go, or else he would kill the whole world and everybody's grandmother. And I haven't been to a game in a long time, especially because we have the post game show. It does make it a little bit more complicated for us. But look, take a picture of us, tag us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles, hashtag C3 Panthers podcast. Could do some stuff like that. We'd love to get fans calling in after the game to hear how the experience was. And you can call into the show right now at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. But I'd love for fans to call in after the game and make this the post-game show that they're listening to on the car on the way home from the game. Ask a controversial question to you before we move on to the next topic, or at least for me. I'm always thinking about this podcast and how it's been built from nothing, right? I mean, I'm talking about like the original goal when we created this podcast was to make it for $0. And I've made all these, the first website was a blogspot.com. There was a lot of things that iterations of this podcast. Do you think it's risky for a player to come on this podcast during the season for them?
Yes.
Why do you say that, CK?
Not because I think that it's going to be. I think the reason that I believe that is because we express our opinions too openly. And the unfortunate reality is we do have and this is no knock on anybody, but we have a very diverse as far as opinionated chat, and we put everybody's stuff up. We don't care, right? And so I looked when we had our Dallas guest on last year, who was horrible, but we were still putting up the comments right in front of him saying how bad he was.
That one hurt. I wish Cody wouldn't have done so many of the bad.
But that's the only reason that I see there being a potential, damage, or there being any risk for these guys coming on, because it's not one of these things that is easily it's not easily governed, if you will, because we do keep an open forum when it comes to this stuff.
But don't you feel like, I mean, I think you're right. And actually, I think more of it is more concern of what they think the team would think about certain things, and how that's perceived. But look, I mean, and not to say, I mean, clearly we're no Pat McAfee.
Right.
But, players are stepping into these circles more frequently. But there does seem to be something more emotionally connective about like a podcast like ours than it is maybe like going on a local radio show. That does seem a little more protected, like you're saying, CK. What do you think, Cody?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking of it like this, and you kind of mentioned it. More and more players are starting their own podcasts, like players that are actively on teams. So, like the Kelsey brothers have their own podcast. There's a few, different guys that are starting it, and I think that in the age of the podcast, like we're in, guys freely expressing their opinions is more and more common. Now, we get a little bit spicy here on the C3 Panthers.
I think we've always been fair to our guests.
We've always been fair. And
maybe we're a little wacky when we're just on our own.
Well, how about this, right? David Newton. We had David Newton on the beat check one time, and David Newton is a guy that, Panther fans either love him or hate him because of his antics on there. And he came on here, and granted, he's not, he's not a Panther player, but he came on here. We had great questions. We asked him fair questions, and we were able to keep on, and keep it moving. And it was a great interview. I also look at when we interviewed Jonathan Stewart. He might not be, currently with the Panthers, but, when you're a fan like us and you follow the team as intently as we do, I honestly think there are moments when guys like us ask better questions of the players than some of the media members do.
Totally.
Yeah, so I
help David Newton, man.
And I think that the
some
players,
David Newton, some supporters.
Yeah, we definitely got some more David Newton supporters out of that interview. But I also just think that, the players are now living in where they're born with the internet. You know, like even me, I remember, a time in my life that was completely without the internet. Most of these NFL players now, they've never not known having the internet in their life in some way, shape, or fashion. So I think that lends to a more open environment where as kind of spread and you're okay with whatever those ideas might be. So no, and you mentioned Pat McAfee too. Again, we're no Pat McAfee. Well, we're no Pat McAfee, but at one point in time, Pat McAfee was no Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
He had to start somewhere. And I do think, man, the last thing I'll say, there's something to be said about the authenticity of what we do. Like, yeah, we do let people share their opinions. We don't silence people. The four of us do have a very versatile set of opinions when it comes to a lot of things football. Look at how much we fight between each other on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't agree for nothing. So I think it makes progression, and I think these players realize that.
Yeah. I mean, you all write good points. I think I'm kind of with CK in this argument, though, that I think there's just too much for them to risk of saying something maybe they're not supposed to say. I mean, think about, you're right, we're no Pat McAfee, but even players who go on Pat McAfee take a lot of crap for the things they say on the Pat McAfee show. So,
yeah.
Well,
and the other
Rodgers,
thing,
but
and nothing against Pat McAfee.
Yeah, nothing against him at all. Yeah.
Pat McAfee has softened up his approach with a lot of, like, he used to be balls to the wall. He's not that way anymore. Like, you see him,
he
like,
probably had to tone it down.
One of the ways he goes about asking questions is he gives them like is that this or is that this? Instead of letting them answer the question, he goes about it asking them, is that because of this? Instead of, tell me why this is, right? So he basically he goes and it's been very, he softens the blow with a lot of them, which is why I think that he is successful. Is I think that it's a lot easier for him to get access to players.
Totally.
In previous years.
I mean, he has credibility because he was an NFL player.
Sure.
And the other thing too is with the softening, CK, that's just a natural progression of a show becoming legitimate, and that, so then you're trying to polish your breaks, you're trying to polish the shorts, you're trying to polish the presentation in so many ways. And it's kind of like going from a rapper's first album. Like, they're always rawest, and it's like the real rhymes, and then it has to get, like everything slightly becomes more commercialized.
Right.
He's becoming legit in so many ways. But the last question I have about this is, like Cody was saying, with how much the internet's changing, in that, how much though, CK, has Pat McAfee potentially altered the way we look at what we do?
Yeah.
And not for us necessarily, but the idea that people's real news is driven by, like, Phil DeFranco's, if you're talking about pop culture or stuff like this, to Pat McAfee, that really is, he's like a powerful force in the way maybe we think about podcasts, sports podcasts.
Yeah, no, it's there's no doubting that. I think that he has opened up a lot as far as I guess the different ways that people actually absorb content. He's been doing this for a good while now, ever since he retired, and it's only gotten bigger for him. I know a lot of people have followed in his footsteps. A lot of people are trying to copy what he's done, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know that we would be here in this position if it wasn't for him kind of paving the way for podcasts that maybe start out with nothing, moving in a direction that gives them some legitimacy. I think that we've really taken that step here with C3, and I think the chat would probably agree. I mean, we've had Jonathan Stewart on, we've had many beat writers on, we've had former Super Bowl winners,
greats like Demir Bird or
right,
Will Witherspoon. We've had some good, man. You guys need to go check the Where's That Cat Now interview segment. I'm gonna have to cue that back up now that we're getting Deshaun Foster was one of my favorites. We talked about that. So we've been plugging away. It's just fun. I just like think about podcasting and how I actually just pull up YouTube at work when I'm like trying to watch TV and grade papers at the same time instead of watching TV. So it's just a different way of living. What we got next to talk about, guys? We were talking about receivers in the news. In the news.
We're gonna get to this next one. Real quick, I don't know if he's in the chat room right now. Our boy, your boy, technically Tony, White Chocolate Espresso, illegitimate son. He's 33 years old today.
Oh, happy birthday!
Happy birthday to Kevin. You're my man. We love you, bro. Big C3, happy birthday, man. And hey, man. Hey, you're as old as Jesus was. You've made it, dude. You're doing good. You're doing good. So yeah, man. Shout out to the boy Kev, White Chocolate Espresso. Next up on the docket, I might already know what all of our opinion is, but it makes for good discussion, and I feel like we should talk about it. Odell Beckham Jr. Now that we know that DJ Moore is injured, and it makes you wonder, should the Panthers go and sign Odell Beckham Jr.? Now, he has not currently signed to a football team. And the reason why is because he wants to be healthy for the playoffs. He wants to go to a team that is in the playoffs. But theoretically, like Mike K says here, the Panthers are technically in playoff contention right now, and maybe it could help us. I already see a lot of hell no chat. I put up a poll, by the way. It's 76% hell no. But, I mean, hey, it would be another receiving option, a dynamic player. What do you guys say about this? Even though I probably already know what you're going to say. But go ahead.
He's not going to be ready till December at the earliest, or like into December at the earliest. So you're talking about playoffs. So you're talking about him not even being ready for the playoffs. And I mean, his thing is he doesn't just want to be on a playoff team. He wants the bag.
Right.
Like that's the thing. He wants to get a multi-year deal worth a lot of money. I'm not mad at him about that, but are we willing to give him that? Is the question. I don't think we should.
Not for the potential of only one game, even if he's just coming in for the playoffs. Like,
right.
Number two is, you guys forget, he is literally a villain to Carolina Panthers, right? People have forgotten what he did to Josh Norman back in 2015 when he heat-seeking missiled Josh Norman's head like a fucking spear. Like let's be real about it. Anybody who thinks that this guy is deserving to be on this team is absolutely joking. Secondly, anybody who thinks he wants to come to be a Carolina Panther right now, with us being a run-first team, not a passing air raid offense, you've got another thing coming. This is not the type of team that is built for an Odell Beckham Jr. This is a team that's built for a Deontay Foreman and a Chuba Hubbard and a Blackshear.
Oh, God. Imagine the meltdowns he would be having on the sideline.
Right.
If only Baker was still the quarterback. And you did that.
That would be hysterical.
Guess what? The idea of Odell Beckham Jr. Really playing for any team this season is
that's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
Is that even Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, who are so wildly crazy, right? Like they're gonna do anything to, like they'll sell their soul at any moment. They were excited about Odell name, adding him to what they got going on in Dallas, and Dallas has got one of the better teams. They met with him on his little tour that he's been around, and Jerry's like, "You can't play football, man. Like he's not ready. He's not ready to play." And incredibly, there's no way he's probably going to be ready by the playoffs to play, to be honest.
Right.
Because like Odell last year and what he did that was so successful and good when he went to the Rams, he didn't just walk on in the playoffs. Like he joined them maybe week 11 or something like that. So
he didn't play well.
This is kind of so unrealistic. And then now he's out there saying that he's not really seeking a deal for this year. He's like courting teams for next year's free agency. Like he's trying to get a 2-year deal or something like this ahead of time. Not only it's just a bad fit entirely for us. And I can't really see a fit in the NFL at the current moment that it would make all that great. I guess you could add him to the Bills, but guess who's coming out of retirement right now? Cole Beasley to join the Bills.
No, he joined the Cowboys.
Was it the Cowboys?
Yeah, he joined the Cowboys.
Oh, so he retired.
Or no, did he join? Yeah.
I thought
he joined the Bills. Yeah, he joined the Bills. He joined the Bills.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was the Bills.
Yeah, he did. He
just
went to the Bills
read it before, but like, good God,
I thought it was
what
the
an
Cowboys.
off. Say something again, CK. Your mic just went funky.
I said I'm pretty sure. I thought it was the Cowboys.
Wasn't Cole Beasley on another team this year already and got cut?
I think
after
Bucks.
like one game.
I think.
I think it was the Bucks. I think he got signed for like one game and then got cut.
Yeah.
So it's Buffalo. He didn't go to Buffalo.
Okay.
Speaking of getting cut.
No, wait. T.Y. Hilton went to the Cowboys, by the way. Yep, that's what it was.
Right. Yes, that's what it was. Speaking of getting cut, the Carolina Panthers waived Dayvion Nixon today. It wasn't his birthday, was it?
It was.
Yeah, it was his birthday.
Why does this always
happy
happen? Why does it
birthday.
seem to coincide? This is not the only time that this has happened in not only the Panthers, but in NFL, right? Is like cut this person on the birthday. It always makes the saddest story. Why didn't they do it yesterday? Why didn't they file the paperwork tomorrow? Good gosh, this is difficult. But Dayvion Nixon, I think this is actually because Harry Anderson is being activated again.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
He was activated last week.
His name. They said they were bringing him up in the story I read on Panthers.com.
Yeah, after he had a fucking heart procedure or some shit.
No, a stroke. He had a stroke.
Yeah, oh my God. Still,
I don't want to, well, what is this? How about this? What is, in fact, we had, I think it was Michael who came on and talked about the stadium, right? And like how the infrastructure, we need a doctor come on and talk about like how you just have a minor stroke. Like, what is that? What does that mean? Is that like a blood clot in the brain? Is that what?
Why does it feel like more young people are having strokes?
I know.
Who else has had a stroke?
There's been like there's been a large amount of athletes and celebrities that are younger that have been having strokes lately.
In their 20s and 30s. Like it's been a lot.
I had the worst secret thought.
Was it about the vaccine?
About the what?
The vaccine, because that's what a lot of people are connected to.
I was not even thinking about that. Now that
was your secret thought, CK.
Yeah. My secret thought is like, what is a NFL player who's in peak physical condition? What causes them to have a stroke? And like, is it a genetic predisposition? Is it a freak accident? I've just read some things that guys have done. I'm not saying, what in your lifestyle is it? Could it be supplements? I'm not saying that. Never mind. I told you it was a secret thought. But like, why do you have?
Is he on some extracurricular substances? Is basically.
I'm not. Yeah. I mean, is that even? I mean, is it? It's not entirely out of the road. What I'm saying is go read Jason Peter book and what this guy was doing in the NFL. My point being is that to be 30? Well, he's 31. I guess maybe he's just pushing his body so hard. But if it's a blood clot so anyway. Move on. This is why we can't have players on the show.
No. This is why you can't have it. Look, this is what I'll say, man. I'm really I'm disappointed. The fact that I even have that picture right there of Dayvion on the right saved on my computer, like, I believed in dude. He was a former Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He looked really good. Not this year, but the year before in training camp, he was damn near unblockable. And I'm just like, I really do think that he has a lot of potential, but that we just weren't able to get that potential out of him.
Right.
So I don't know more if he is. I wish him the best. I do think that he has talent, but to me, it's also kind of like maybe also kind of a little bit like Deontay Brown, who y'all have heard me mention a lot on this show before. Maybe some guys just didn't get the proper chance. And I know Panther Pickle, he put on Twitter that, Steve Wilks is just not having it. If you don't have the right effort on defense and you're not doing the right things, then he's just not going to tolerate you. And it's a defensive mindset, and Wilks is a defensive coach. So I do think that does have a lot to do with it. So right. I wish him the best and hope that he can get better.
Did you see what Panther Pickle put up?
Yeah, just dope because he didn't have
Man,
enough
you
sex.
know, Panther Pickle, that the blood clot's in your brain, not your head. The other. He's like, he died from a blood clot. This D. Now, also, people in the chat, you got to stop talking about it, and we got to stop putting it up. We can't say the V word on this podcast. The V word, man. Like I'm worried that the government will take it all down.
Do you mean vagina? Oh no, you mean a different one.
Virgin.
Yeah,
virgin,
that
one.
Of course. Yeah, that one. Let's keep going with the Panther. Now, actually, here's the thing. The birthday part is really sad to me. The other thing is I'm so tired of rooting for these 5th and 6th round defensive tackles that become nobodies at this point. And I'm like, I liked Bravion Roy. We like this Dayvion Nixon. He's a defensive tackle or is he a defensive end? Bravion Nixon. I think he's a tackle,
defensive
right?
tackle, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was another defensive tackle that we had that was Bravion Roy. One of them still on the team, I think. Who is it?
Yeah, Bravion Roy team.
There was one other the year before, and we're always like this. And then 2 years later, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, it happens, man.
Let's keep going.
So now, I mean, again, so before we get into this matchup, with there's like, I kind of want to take a look at the landscape because, I mean, if you guys agree with me and if the chat room agrees with me that we have a very clear picture going forward on how the Panthers could win this division and how it's really possible for us, it makes you think, we have a streak of bad teams in theory that we're getting ready to play. But if we're going into the playoffs, now you're playing the best teams in the NFC. I wanted to look at the lay of the land right now and just kind of see how, what teams on this list do we think are a bad matchup for us. And personally, I think that we match up a lot better against a lot of these teams than someone give us credit for. I'm not a believer in Minnesota. I mean, I've seen what Dallas.
I'm not a believer in Minnesota.
I've seen what Dallas
they won
did to
12
them.
games.
I saw what the Detroit Lions to them, and I'm not a believer.
Who was the first one? The Eagles.
The Dallas Cowboys. They destroyed them.
The Cowboys.
They've lost to the Eagles, right? Have they played the Eagles? The Vikings.
The Vikings.
So they've lost to Dallas. They've lost to Detroit, and they've lost to who? The Eagles, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is the Eagles.
All right. I think Minnesota is nobody to be messed around with.
I think they can be good, but the problem is, it's like I said, you got to look at I compare them to Las Vegas. Like they're won so many games
team off things.
Well, they've won so many games off things falling their way at the end or having almost kind of good luck. Look at the Buffalo game, man. Like, what are the odds that Buffalo fumbles the ball in the end zone after you had 6 attempts to get it, in the end zone from 3 yards in?
They're gonna win the division, though, Minnesota.
Yeah, but they're in a
right.
fairly
So that
weak
means
division,
we won't play
we
them.
Yeah,
we're really only looking at teams that are wild card teams, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So
wild card teams.
So it would be the Commanders, the Cowboys,
and Dallas,
and maybe San Fran.
No, San Fran's gonna have their division.
They're gonna win the division. Yeah.
Is Dallas gonna win the NFC?
No, that's gonna be the Eagles.
Oh no, it's the Eagles. The Eagles are runaway. Really? Sorry. So you think that could Seattle be on that list instead of the Bucks?
I mean, yeah, theoretically. I mean, Seattle's not out of it. There's a few teams.
The Bucks can't be up there if we're up there.
Right, the Bucks won't be up there if we're up there.
Right, so we won't play the Bucks.
Seattle could be there instead of Washington, maybe.
Who's the worst team? Who do we work? The Cowboys are the worst team to play. Eagles. I mean, obviously, you're not going to play.
Well, the Commanders, I think.
No, I don't want to play the Cowboys, dude.
Hey, no. I want to play the Commanders. Wouldn't that be something? Steve Wilkes versus Ron Rivera at Bank of America Stadium, the first playoff matchup.
That's some storybook stuff right there.
Tell me that wouldn't be a fucking awesome story, dude. God, I want that to happen so badly. I
don't want to play Dallas, bro. If we play Dallas, not only do we not match up good against that team is probably the worst matchup in the complete all around team outside of Philly in this case. But the problem too is that Dallas fans would take over Bank of America.
Yeah,
they would pay whatever. If you go on Cameo right now, Micah Parsons' Cameo video is $550, and that's like comparable to like top actors in the world.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Is like, and
they know what it takes, dude.
Like Cowboy fans will play anything. So like that place, that wouldn't even be a home game. I bet. I hate to say
you know
that,
what, Tony? Look, I have no doubt that they're in droves, just like I have no doubt that this Sunday the Steeler fans are going to show up in droves. But, dude, I'm telling you, the past few years, these Panther fans have had nothing to believe in. Panther fans are more numerous than these attendances have been for the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. If this fan base continues to believe in this football team and we're in the playoffs, oh, baby, I promise you, we're going to have some Panther fans in Bank of America Stadium. I guarantee you that. I'm not going to say there will be more or less, but we're going to have a respectable showing like we've had once upon a time, dude. I remember in 2013 when the Patriots came to town for Monday night, came out. It was a blackout game. That place was absolutely rocking and rolling, filled with Panther fans. And that's a legacy team at this point, the New England Patriots. So, I think through the past few years, Panther fans have really had rep. But I more correlate that to Matt Rhule and David Tepper and the ineptitude that this organization has shown in recent years. I think Panther fans, especially now that Steve Wilkes has put up the bat signal, so to speak, I think Panther fans are going to show up and show out in droves, and we need this right now.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind getting another shot at the Giants. They've been a bad, like a terrible team when we've played them. Maybe not this year terrible because they started hot. But I felt like those are games that we were circling on the thing on the schedule each year, the saying we should beat this, and it's just the worst loss last year and this year. I'll take the Giants at home. Imagine that. The Panthers get a playoff win. Who would you rather play? Who's worse? And just a little, real quick, in the one answer, who's worse, or who's the better matchup for us if we were to host a playoff game, New York Giants or the Commanders?
We wouldn't have either of them.
Why?
We would be the lowest seed. We would be the lowest seed with that's the division winner. So we would face the highest rated wild card. So it would either be the Eagles or the Cowboys.
No, it wouldn't be the Eagles. That's the number one seed.
No, they still have a chance to not. No, they still have a chance to not win that division. If they lost 2 in the next 3 games, and then the Cowboys were to win out, then there is a chance that we would have to face the Eagles in the wild card round.
But there's a way that San Francisco could be a wild card, right?
Yes,
because they lost their quarterback. They got Purdy. I know they won that last game, but gosh, so we're gonna have to play the worst of the worst teams in the world, like the evil empire of football would be the Cowboys. Ugh. What we got next?
We'll play number 3 seed, right? Like whoever falls into the number 3, or excuse me, no. If we win the division, we'll follow whoever is into the number 5 spot. So whoever's the 5th spot is who we play at the end of the season. But we'll have a home game.
I'll say this. I would prefer, just because it's the Cowboys and I want their fans to be salty, and I would prefer to beat the Cowboys. That obviously that would be incredible, and it would be embarrassing to see Skip Bayless and all the other Cowboy fans just completely in shambles that they're one and done in the playoffs. And
that would be awesome.
I fucking love that, dude.
He's been calling us a clown show all year.
I guess if you want to talk about it, you got to be about it, right? That's the team. You go and beat them, and all of a sudden you're sitting here going, "We are going to the Super Bowl, bitches! Come on, Eagles!"
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man, dude. That would be fucking lit. I think that would be incredible. But I mean, honestly, if we're matchups, I think the Commanders. So right now they're in a wild card spot because they're not atop the division. I think the Commanders. I mean, it's going to be an NFC East team.
It's
I
gonna,
think
CK's right. It's going to be the Cowboys or whoever wins the NFC East, right?
Whoever's the second place in NFC East.
Right.
There's nobody else that's going to be in the conversation
because there's 2 wild card spots.
There's 3 wild card.
There's
spots.
3 wild. Ooh,
there's only 1 bye. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We'll still be the
would
worst
have to
of
play
the
the best team out of the wild cards.
The number 5 seed. Yeah, because we're
which
going to
would
be the worst
Cowboys
winners
or the Eagles. Like CK's right about that. Cook guys. All right, what do we got next?
Yeah. So this is just another perk of Steve Wilkes being the coach, and to be honest, I think this, along with a number of other reasons, is part of the reason why Steve Wilkes is absolutely the front runner to be the next head coach of the Carolina Panthers. How long have Panther fans been asking and begging for this very scenario? Luke Kuechly went on to WFNZ and did not turn down the possibility of joining Steve Wilkes' defensive staff someday. And dude, that is what we've all been wanting. A Luke Kuechly linebacker coach to help identify linebacker talent, but also to train them up. Maybe eventually if he works his way up to defensive coordinator. I mean, that would be the dream, right? Having Panther players want to come back and be a part of the coaching staff. That happens under Steve Wilkes, and it's probably not going to happen under other heads. It's a part of that culture implementing that Wilkes knows so well about and the types of players that he would attract. So I love this, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about the potential of Luke Kuechly being a coach one day under Steve Wilkes.
I think the story right here is more of a referendum continue. I hate to say his name on the podcast anymore, Matt Rhule.
I knew it was coming.
Is that the idea is that, and this is what a terrible picture of Luke Kuechly, by the way. Like, what the heck is this guy posting? Michael Rimmer. What a bad picture of Luke Kuechly. He looks sad. Like he's like,
probably just because it's in the headset.
Maybe he's trying to say it's like I'm longing to come back to football. Maybe that's what this picture is screaming right here. But you're right. It's not only does Steve Wilkes give you that connection to the past, right, to tap into that pipeline of legacy. Right. It has been strange about the person that seemed to be like the Peyton Manning of a defense in Luke Kuechly, the person who was not only physically and gifted, but just like a mental savant of football and a student of the game, or at least that's how it's been pitched to us. It was clear he was out there just like making guys, like having him on your defense was like having Peyton Manning. Any offensive coordinator is going to look good. You don't do anything. Just sit over there and do whatever you think is best, right? And so it was kind of bizarre that it just didn't work out as him becoming a scout and then leaving the team and then kind of reuniting towards the back end of the Rhule era in this kind of broadcasting capacity. But you're right that Wilkes does give this. And one interesting thing, though, Kevin Gray, or my boy Kev in the chat brought this up, is that what if we could get Tony Romo in the booth if the Carolina Panthers played the Cowboys in that game? And I was thinking about it. I think Tony Romo, though, is an NBC guy. So unless this was like, and I don't know who was going to get the rights to this, but more than often, right, the NFC is going to fall. It's definitely not going to be a CBS thing likely, because these are 2 NFC teams. Fox would want the Dallas game. So maybe couldn't we get Greg Olsen to be the color commentator?
Yeah, you could.
Because
that would be right so now. Lit. I would love
man
that
who
so
was on
much,
the 2014 team itself.
Yeah.
Was on the 2015 team that beat the Cowboys on their way to the playoffs. That would be a great win for us. So, man, bring on the Cowboys and Greg Olsen calling the game. Oh, Tony Romo is a CBS guy, not an NBC. Oh, that's who. You're right. He is the Watchman. What I was going to say is I thought, oh, what if Aikman and Joe Buck call it, because they used to be with Fox? I think they're doing Monday Night Football, right, with ESPN.
Well, Greg Olsen is Fox. So if we're on Fox, there's a very good that it's going to be Greg Olsen, man. That
I
would
think
be
any
cool.
of these guys would be awesome, though, particularly Romo Olsen, because of the connection to the past for these teams. Olsen would be dynamic for us for that 2014 connection, his connection to Wilks.
Right.
Imagine how pumped he would be.
Oh, dude,
this is fun.
Did Kuechly ever play against Romo? How cool!
Yeah, he had that pick 6 against him in the Thanksgiving game. They ended Romo's career. The Carolina Panthers in 2015 ended Romo's career. I think they broke his clavicle again or his shoulder or something like that, and destroyed them on Thanksgiving Day in those sweet blue uniforms. And Luke Kuechly had a pick 6. Kurt Coleman had a pick 6. Cam was doing his thing. This was wild, though. Steve Wilks is a man of the people, Cody.
Oh, he's absolutely a man of the people. This is the people's coach. And just to show you, and this is kind of the last bit of Steve Wilks, because so we're happy with Steve Wilks. So I have no problem spending almost an hour and 30 minutes kind of talking about things relating to him. I feel like we're all pulling for him. Panther Nation's pulling for him. But I feel like this tweet was a great dichotomy of where the Panthers have been versus where we are now. And this was in Periscope, and it's how fans were reacting to Matt Rhule.
No, this is Twitter. This is Twitter. They don't have Periscope no more.
Yeah, with Twitter, but it's the same shit pretty much. But Matt Rhule, this is what they were typing when Matt Rhule was doing his press conference. Fire Matt, stuttering, LOL, he knows it. That seat is getting hot. Looks like a man who knows he's getting fired. Fire Rhule. This was, 2 years ago, right? Now you look at Steve Wilks, leader of men. That's a damn head coach right there. Keep pounding. Keep Steve Wilks. I want to run through a brick wall for you, man. And that's why he's such a good coach. These players want to run through a wall for Steve Wilks. They're willing to do it. They're able to do it. He's a leader of men. And I'm sorry, but this is why everyone is believing in themselves right now, from the Panthers on to the Panther fans to us on this podcast, man. Steve Wilks has everyone believing. And it's just what a difference a few weeks will have on a team, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that we started with Matt Rhule, maybe the most inept coach in the NFL, and now we have Steve, man. It's just perfect. I couldn't have written a better story myself.
If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, which is on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts at, Google Play, Spotify, all of that jazz, what Cody's talking about is a Scott Fowler tweet that is juxtaposing the comments on Twitter during the video press conference of these guys. And Scott Fowler tweets, if you have ever watched the Panthers official live press conference feed after games on Twitter, it allows fans to comment in real time about what they are hearing from the coach. This is kind of weird to me because he put this on Twitter. He's like, if you've ever seen a video on Twitter while we're tweeting about it on Twitter, right? And it's like he's talking to old people, like he's explaining email to his neighbor.
He might be,
at that same time. But Fowler has always got a little petty bone in him, right? As Fowler's been a guy who is not. He did a podcast on the Ray Caruth thing. Some people didn't like that. He was trying to get into the serial. It's actually very good, to be honest, like storytelling and things like this. But Fowler has poked the bear a couple of times and made some coaches mad, and most recently made David Tepper mad, right? And the awkward press conference there. So I'm waiting for the Fowler story where he's juxtaposing the David Tepper press conference after firing Matt Rhule and after hiring Steve Wilks. Or he's going to do something like that. Here comes the petty Scott Fowler bomb. And I tell you, if you don't have a little petty in you, shame on you, shame on you. I'm a little petty for all those people who are not smashing the thumbs up button. And if Cody Lashney is ready, I think it's time to give these people a shaming for not smashing that thumbs up button and not getting it together.
Am I ready? Am I ready? Dude, when am I not ready, man? I think a better question, and maybe even a dumber question, is the chat ready? Is the chat ready for this heaping helping of shame that my man Codizzle is dishing out to ya? Talk to him, Big Papa.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, Panthers fans of all caliber, you've come here to talk about the Carolina Panthers, to chat about the Carolina Panthers. Maybe you're listening as we travel across the country in a 18-wheeler, whatever it may be. But you haven't hit that like button, you haven't hit that thumbs up, whatever the positive review is for whatever platform you're using to watch or listen to us. I have one thing to say to all you absolute freaks. Subscriber shame.
$193 viewers, 90 thumbs up in the chat room. Y'all, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panther fan base and the C3 Panther podcast goes live. Hey, man, we take no weeks off, man. We are year-round, always bringing new Panther content. And listen, man, help us whip up on that YouTube algorithm and just rush and run the football on the YouTube algorithm, just like these Panthers have been doing to our opponents, baby. It helps us grow, helps us get in front of more and more people. Tony Dunn, what we got next on the docket?
Don't forget that we've been having a blast playing Prize Picks on the C3 Panthers podcast this year. Our sponsor, Prize Picks, and you can go to prizepick.com or get the Prize Picks app for your daily fantasy football sports. Using the promo code C3, you'll get a first-time deposit match of up to $100. And I got to tell you, it doesn't matter if they sponsor this podcast or not. I'm all about the Prize Picks. Been going and we've been playing it all year on the show, guys, and just a little bit about how this works and what is going down is this is daily fantasy football sports, right? And what this does is you get to select players, and they basically identify if they are going to do more or less of over their projected fantasy football projection, their fantasy projection, their football projection, right? So you pick multiple players. The more players you pick, the more it pays out. It can pay out up to 10 times your money. You can do flex picks. It's fun where you can win 2 out of 3. Just a little bit of what's been going down on my or on the C3 account. Almost had a good day on Sunday. Still came right ahead is this $5 2-pick entry on a free play with Justin Herbert. Right. Why does it only say 62 yards, by the way, that he got? Anyway, he got he went over his number. Christian McCaffrey in a game, he had 34 receiving yards, did not make the number because they just blew these suckers out. I just needed one more screen pass, baby. One more screen pass, and that $5 turns into 15. Made one on a basketball pick, Greg, on the flex. Nice. Got to go flex, man. Flex is like this. If we would have just done flex all season, we would have been like triple our money.
Yeah, I'd have won a lot.
You know, win this one, Kirk Cousins and Russell over. So this is how it can go, man. And you can get some big time payouts. Fans of the C3 Panthers podcast have been playing Prize Picks like crazy and having a good time doing it. The promo code is C3. You get a 100% deposit bonus, up to 100%, up to $100 on your first time deposit. Make sure to use the promo code C3. One of the things we like to do with Prize Picks is look at the upcoming game. And that's what we're going to be going to anyway. The next segment is going to be about previewing the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Carolina Panthers and some things like this. But let's just see what some of the early fantasy projections are for the Carolina Panthers. Only 2 numbers available. These numbers will fluctuate throughout the week, right? The earlier you get some good numbers, right? And they'll add more players to it. Right now, Devontae Foreman, 60.5 rushing yards. Right now, like we talked about, Cody, the Pittsburgh Steelers have not been great against the run. In fact, the Baltimore Ravens bludgeoned them last week in their own triple threat with Huntley and 2 running backs. So they've been giving up a lot of rushing yards. Deontay Foreman, his number is 60.5. By the way, Sam Darnold's number was lower, I believe, last week than 175.5 through the air. Feel good about this one. More interested than the Sam Darnold.
The only thing about the Donta Foreman is that now that, like what I mentioned earlier, we're splitting carries, man. Now we have Chuba Hubbard and Blackshear getting touches. So, I mean, if you go back to him, I believe he went over it last week. I believe he did have over that amount, but even still, man, it's risky.
That number goes 65 by Friday. Remember that, Cody, for the C3 Friday free for all on Friday, where you guys do your own prize picks there using the promo code C3, is that usually rushing numbers against a bad rushing team or bad rushing defense tend to go up throughout the week. At least Christian McCaffrey always gets better numbers early in the week than he does on Friday or Saturday. As some of the money is going towards it. Deontay Johnson, the Pittsburgh wide receiver, 54.5. George Pickens, 46.5. And Najee Harris on the run game, over 60. You know what? It's basically, you could do, is this a running game? Is this, you know what? To be honest, I like that because their quarterback situation is in flux. You could almost do running back versus running back duel here. The number is identical, isn't it?
Hey, I want to point out real quick
that's interesting.
I want to point out real quick while you're talking about Deontay Foreman. I think that I want to ask, one, he came in slightly injured, so I'm wondering if the carries were altered like that. But I'm looking at the numbers. He still had 21 carries. And Hubbard only had 14. So, I mean, he still had 21 carries. He led the backfield by 7 carries.
I like this running back versus running back play here.
Yeah.
And that's going to be my first prize pick of the week right here. Is I'm going to do more on both of these. Unless somebody in the chat can tell me, is there anything going on with Najee Harris? I know he's not been great this year, to be honest, but like the Panthers defense is not been shut down against the run.
I think,
and they have a quarterback who is potentially going to be the Mason dude or whatever his dude and whatever Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Or Mitch Trubisky, who threw 3 picks last week unnecessarily. What do you guys think in the chat? I'd like to hear what you guys think about the C3 Panthers prize pick this week. But don't forget to use the promo code C3. We'll actually keep going on with the show. I'm going to wait to see what the chat has to say about this before I put my entry entirely in. But that is our prize pick of the week. Actually, do you guys want to? We'll come back to it when we talk NFL news. We might peek at the numbers after the chat tells us what we should do. Carson says more than Foreman over Pickens under. Well, Pickens, he likes the Pickens as in the receiver. Ooh. What, JC Horn puts the seatbelt on him?
Is it Foreman over Pickens under? Yeah, I like that. They really don't have a big-time receiver. Yeah, they don't have a big-time receiver on that offense. And JC Horn is Mr. Shut Shit Down, if you know what I'm saying. So I like that.
It's only 40. Man, that's only 2 catches, though.
Right. What's his guess on receptions? Because I know that he got pissed that week. He has 2 right there. He got pissed because he only got like 2 targets. Like, so he'll throw a tantrum if he only gets a few targets. So they may force feed him.
That's a low number. I mean, it's not terribly low, but when we go over with the big receivers, that number is like 90.
Right.
That's 2 plays. I guess the question is, does JC lock him up? Just JC lock him up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to come back.
Cover him every play.
I'm going to come back to that one, but I'm going to play this power play right here. I'm going to make this a rushing game and see what we got. We'll come back to the prize picks later on. Don't forget to use the promo code C3. Cody, we got the Carolina Panthers will be hosting. I got to take me down.
Yep, I got it.
Up screen.
Prize picks. Use promo code C3, damn it. Make some money. Dude, we have people messaging us all the time gloating about how much they're winning on prize picks. That needs to be you. Make some money. Help out the podcast. Use promo code C3. Man, we're having I even have my friends of mine that made a separate chat just for us to be able to talk about our prize picks, man. So it's
add me, jokers. Hey. Add me.
Also, hey, by the way, guys, if we're live, we'll be able to watch it as it happens. But there is tonight at midnight, so they're going to be starting a 12 days of promos. So for Christmas, and so the first one drops tonight at midnight. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be something new every single day. So if you guys are interested, go put your first deposit in. Again, they're going to match dollar for dollar up to $100. And then obviously you'll have an extra. If you did deposit $100 in your first go, you have basically $200 to play with. So go have some fun. I recommend using the flex pick instead of the full-on 5 times your money in some of those cases, but that's only because of the amount of times that we've only lost by 1 of these options. So
hindsight, yep.
That's the 12 days of Picksmas with prize picks.
Hey, and the coolest thing about prize picks that you can't do on any other betting site that I've seen so far is you can cross sports. You can put like 2 football players and a basketball player in. So if you don't only feel good about 2 football players, go check out another sport. Use something you feel comfortable and add them to it.
And good news, Greg, it's not even betting because it's daily fantasy football sports. It's legal in 30 states, including North and South Carolina. And if you need to figure out how to be in one of those states while not being in one of those states, ask the chat room.
There's inventive ways to go about
play
doing
prize
it.
picks.
Yeah. But by the way,
holy cow!
Shout out to Quell Davis. We see you, Quell. Nice. We appreciate you, brother. The $20 love bomb. He brings up a good point here, fellas. He says Panthers are 1-6 all time versus the Steelers. Last time we played them, we lost 21-52. Don't bring it up on Thursday Night Football, and they ended our season early.
Was that the Cam game?
Yes, that's when
Cam got the shoulder.
That's when TJ
Watt. That was we're all went downhill.
That was the end. That left us here.
Beginning
that put us here today. That's the trajectory from that game.
Even a better story, more poetic. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Sorry.
No. I mean, no. That's that. Look, it's all a great point to be made. He asked, "Are we beating them on Sunday?"
The answer is yes.
We are. For that donation, brother. And yeah, I do think we are. And part of the reason why I do think that we are is Kenny Pickett was in concussion protocol. And if he ends up being on the sideline, Mike Tomlin says there's a possibility that it's not even going to be Mitch Trubisky as their starting quarterback.
He threw 3 picks.
But
Mitch Trubisky, all he had to do is they moved the ball down the field, and he looked all right for a couple of plays. And all they had to do out of one of those 3 drives was to score 3 points, and they win that game, right? I mean, like they couldn't. So is that Mitch Trubisky's mistakes were so huge that just one play, and we've seen this for the Carolina Panthers and bad quarterback play, and what that's done is right when there's hope. These guys were in that game against a divisional team trying to muscle through it with losing their quarterback and having a bad season overall, but catching the Ravens on a down week. And Trubisky just wouldn't. It was just he's a liability. And this actually doesn't surprise me. It's kind of crazy that I just assumed that he would be starting. But, boy, now you're talking about the Panthers. And here's the thing I want to say to Quell real quick is thank you. Hey, I love the informative comment, man. What a thoughtful comment that is, and placing it into perspective, not only historically for that beatdown that we suffered in Pittsburgh, but the kind of tough relationship that we've had with them in the past. But this ain't your regular Pittsburgh Steelers team.
No,
and Mike Tomlin is on the cusp of having his first losing season, the most insane stat you can possibly think of.
That's crazy to me. Mike Tomlin,
we haven't had back-to-back losing. We haven't had back-to-back winning seasons in our team history.
He's never had a losing season.
And he's not like only been a coach for 2 years.
Yeah,
I know some Steelers fans too that are so pissed and want to fire him so badly. And I'm like, y'all, this is I know a bunch of them where I'm from, and they can't stand it. They've loved him the entire time I've known it, but this season they want to fire him, and I'm like, why? We can't win a game. I'm like, y'all, seriously, give the guy a break.
I just thought of this.
Never had a losing season. Yeah,
I just thought of this because I don't think about the AFC potentially enough, just because of us being in the NFC and who we play a lot and some different things. But we've been talking about the next coach for the Carolina Panthers, the idea of it being an offensive guy or something to this effect. And like the reason that we've wanted an offensive coach in theory is that they can bring continuity and longevity of success, because with success and their coordinators leaving, you don't have to reset in that case, right? And so we've been talking, though, about defensive coaches who have been able to have success over the long term. And because, Rivera was one, and when he loses some of his coordinators, then all of a sudden you're like, how are you replacing this? And even Steve Wilks was part of that replacement plan. I was thinking about one of the more successful defensive coaches in the league, and it's got to be Sean McDermott. And I can't believe I haven't thought of Mike Tomlin, though. He's the most successful defensive coach ever, honestly.
I would.
He's up there. He's up there. You have to give the man.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Belichick.
Yeah. You have to give the man respect for what.
Yeah, he's definitely up there, though.
I don't even think of Belichick as one-dimensional. I just think of him like as a dark Lord Sith.
Yeah. I've been. I said this before the season. I've said this for a bunch of seasons. He's my favorite NFL head coach. He has been for a long time. Yeah, I love Tomlin. I love it what they've been able to do. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. Again, I'm not a Steelers fan, but look, if the Panthers were ever going to be in a position to beat Pittsburgh, I'll be damned if it isn't now. They're not really good at defending.
I know. Yeah, this is like just like they caught the Ravens on a down week. We're catching the Steelers on a down year.
Yep.
Now there is
a down moment for them.
There is one thing that I'm worried about. TJ Watt is going to be on Taylor Moton. And Taylor Moton, in my opinion, is probably the weakest link of our offensive line. And I didn't think I'd be saying that a few years ago. But if we're able to, help defend that right side and keep Sam clean and run the football, make them defend the run, I'm not scared of this Pittsburgh team, especially if they're starting Mason Rudolph, for God's sakes, as their starter. Like, come on, dude. Our defensive backs are playing with confidence. J.C. Horn is doing a lot. C.J. Henderson is playing a lot better football, which I think is a credit to Steve Wilks. The guys are playing better football. There's not a lot of places to go with the football if you're passing it, let alone if you're a player like Mason Rudolph. They traded away. What's my guy's name that was up in Pittsburgh? Now he's in Chicago. Chase Claypool. There's no more Chase Claypool. They have Higgins, I believe is his name, but they don't really have like a true number one wide receiver that you're going to trust in all those situations.
The Pickens kid. People like him a lot.
Yeah,
but it's like,
they always have a good wide receiver, though. Somehow or another, Pittsburgh always has a good
you know what the most scary part about the Steelers is?
They're good at drafting wide receivers.
Somebody put this in the chat. This is a great comment in the chat. We owe TJ Watt one. Or it's TJ, right? Is it TJ?
TJ.
Is it JJ?
TJ, yep.
Whichever, the Pittsburgh one.
TJ.
All right.
TJ.
We owe TJ Watt because he was the one that blasted Cam's shoulder. It wasn't a dirty hit or nothing.
It was illegal. It was illegal. It was illegal. It was illegal.
Why's that?
He was held with the crown of his head.
Oh, okay. Helmet. Okay. He did destroy Cam's shoulder. Like it literally, we watched it, the end of Cam right there. And he was cooking with Norv Turner at that point too, in this like small underneath intermediate game that he had been the best. He had never even been good at that type of game before. So we do owe him. I wouldn't be mind if we, an extra little push and shove or a little long on the jumping on the pile or something like that. But the real thing that scares me, or not scares me, that's not the right word. The problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers for the Carolina Panthers, and the reason we're 1-6 against them, is we have historically been terrible against 3-4 defenses. They have frustrated us and exposed how bad our offensive line was in the past. So this would actually be great here because we've never, and Wilks has had problems with 3-4s too, I believe. Like the Panthers just never did good against these types of defenses. And if we could win this game against them and the time that they're down, that's the most thing I'm worried about. The defensive scheme is always giving us a problem. But if our offensive line is so much better than it's been historically, now we're actually well suited to deal with that.
Yeah, and I just saw this. I hadn't even seen it before. I don't know how important Chris Wormley is to their defensive line, but defensive end Chris Wormley tore his ACL and is out for the rest of the season. Called the injury significant. So they're banged up. They're not the healthiest.
Yeah.
This is not the best Pittsburgh Steelers team. And sleep on them. We can't take them for granted. Like they're used to playing good December football, but they are just not as
having
good
no
as
DJ could hurt us though.
Years past. Well, right now it's day to day. So and he barely saw any touches against last week. I'm not even fretting too much about DJ. I think we're gonna spread the ball around. We're not dependent upon getting DJ more the football in order for us to be successful. So
this is from PFF. If you look at the matchup, and I don't understand the numbers to be honest. So that I pulled this off of PFF. The spread against this game they've got listed as 2.5 point favorites for the Carolina Panthers. They see the over under in this game at 38.5, so a lower scoring game, right? Run first type of game. But look at these team metrics. I don't understand this. Is power rank overall? It has the Steelers at 17. The Panthers at 28. But what about this defensive number? How was the Carolina Panthers defense ranked 28th in the power rankings? As I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. I was looking at that earlier too. It kind of blew my mind. I don't understand how our offense is ranked 29th.
I mean, I could see that when you look at how the beginning of the year started.
Well, our average points has got to be in the 20s now. We scored. We've got scored high 20s.
No. I can understand how we're not like overall ranked as a high team.
Yeah.
Right. Like is the power rankings. Like I can see how the Panthers aren't power ranked high, like say above 27. I could see that in a reasonable way. And maybe that number changing with each win. The offensive number too, for me, is understandable, but from everything I've heard about how this defense is played, not heard, but seen. And I saw a stat today or a tweet today that said, if you kind of take out the garbage time of football games for Carolina Panthers, that they are like an EPS, whatever this estimated points per whatever. I hate that, but let's say the most complicated stat, but they're a good defense. How can they be the worst defense in the league? Not the worst, but 20. Well, that's like insane. What is PFF doing to us? Bizarre.
Doesn't make much sense.
I'm telling you, people pick and choose when they love PFF. When PFF backs up your argument,
you think that number's right though? That we're the 28th ranked defense in the league.
No,
that's what they have us ranked. Look at that number.
Maybe all things considered. Like over the, like what we're saying.
Have we given up? What's the most points we've given up all season?
The
Falcons game.
This is why I don't trust.
No, it's got to be the Bengals game.
On the free for all, I put the ESPN had Brian as a top 4 defensive end in the NFL, and PFF did a list of their top 10, and Brian Burns to be found. Like, people think that PFF has some numbers, this biblical book of numbers that are just infallible. No, it's just a bunch of dudes who get paid to watch football film, and then they assign a grade to what they think they're looking at on film.
On each play.
Their opinion. Their opinion is just as suggestive as any other player or any other person, subjective rather, as any other person that's evaluating the film. They're not be-all, end-all numbers. You have to trust your own eyes over a lot of these metrics sometimes, because to me, they're just not telling the whole story.
Yeah, I think there was one they had like a week and a half ago where they had Andy Dalton as like the 5th or 6th rated quarterback in the NFL based on their stats. And I was like, well, I don't know about that one. I don't know how you find that measurement, but
maybe I feel like this is influencing the betting. If they're putting betting odds and then giving you bad data, like, we're gonna have to get the SEC involved in the Securities Exchange Commission. Like, this is some Bankman-Fried mess right here, ranking us at 28. They're using Quicken to do their metrics. PFF uses Quicken. Breaking story. You guys will hear more about that later on in the show. The number is 252-228-5098. We've still got the cat calls to go. In fact, we're about to jump into those right now. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button and be a part of the show. The number is 252-228-5098. And we've got NFL news segment coming up at the end of the show, and the Ice Up pick still to go. Let us know your thoughts on this upcoming game, where the Carolina Panthers at, or wherever you want to talk about. Take us into the cat calls, Cody.
Let's do it. 252-228-5098. Let us hear your
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Hey guys, it's JJ calling again real quick. I do, however, just want to mention, because there's a quarterback out there who's been, doing his thing, and y'all always seem, or at least a lot of y'all seem to hate on him a lot. And y'all always want to go back to his stats. He's got capabilities, this and that, but y'all always like, but his stats. For last year, the stats. But the stats he put up, what about his numbers? Let's see his numbers. Well, let me tell you, since week 9, this man has put up 1,200 passing yards, 10 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a rushing touchdown, multiple 2-point conversions, a game-winning drive, a road victory against the division leader. This man has put a poverty franchise on his back recently after finally getting a competent head coach, because last year he had to deal with the one coach worse than that fucking Rhule. That man is Trevor Lawrence, who's a franchise quarterback. I got your back on that, Cody. All right, 3 players I want to touch up on the Panthers game from Seattle. Chuba Hubbard, he's not bad. He's not as bad as how you guys used to hate on. But yeah, he still has much to prove. I think he's good, though. I think he's still a solid back, Sam Darnold looks way more composed and, like, under control whenever he's under pressure. Granted, it's not nearly as often because the line has been best offensive line I've seen, been putting in work. But he's just handling things better. And you can notice when he went to those checkdowns in the first half, like, he read the field, it wasn't there, check down. He read the field in the second half, didn't make the mistake. He threw the ball away. He's smart. He's not throwing shit up like he did a lot of times last year. And then the last guy I want to talk about is Brian Burns. You got put in the doghouse by a rookie. All right, I'm going to need you to step it up since we declined all that stuff in the trade and we're about to pay you over $100 million. I can't be having our franchise defensive end getting, for the most part of the game, shut down by a rookie. All right.
I want to go on this.
But yeah, I'm sure he'll step it up. He still had a half sack. I feel like even then, when it felt like his presence was minimized, he still made an impact. Brian Burns is still taking that step up. He just got to do better than that, honestly. Love the podcast a lot. Thank you guys for always being there and being consistent with Panthers Podcast. C3 Podcast, love y'all. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, brother. Appreciate you, man. Number one, Trevor Lawrence is absolutely a franchise quarterback. Don't ever listen to what Greg says. And number two, you mentioned Brian Burns and how a rookie shut him down. One of the things that we are forgetting, which I think Tony forgot too, when he was saying that Burns needed a game like Seattle to take over, is that he's playing hurt right now. Remember a week before when he hurt his knee and someone rolled into him and he went out of the game for a little while and ended up coming back in. Like, it's that time of year where our players are playing through injuries. They're not the most healthy that they've ever been right now. So you really have to consider that when evaluating, maybe him not having a great performance against their rookie, against the Seahawks rookie. And I think that we need to ease up on Brian Burns a little bit, because even in that performance, even though it wasn't his most dominant, he was still out there making plays. He had like Yonel says, he had that half sack. He was out there playing cleanup. He was setting the edge. Like, Brian Burns does a lot, and especially when he's injured, he's allowed to have an off game every once in a while. Brian Burns is still a top-tier defensive end in the NFL. He's not the healthiest right now, and I think that we need to ease up on him a little bit.
Ease up on him. See, I got to defend myself. No, I got to defend myself. First of all, people take the criticism. Y'all hear what you want to hear rather than listen to what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'm not saying it clearly enough. Is that clearly Brian Burns has been the most productive player on our defense and the most consistent for quite some time now, right? There has been no disputing that. And the only thing that, if anything, is disappointing about him is just that you have superstar status in mind for him, and you're just kind of impatient and waiting for it to happen. Not you, me, not even me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the only criticism you can have, is that, like, he hasn't hit the superstardom just yet that you believe he is fully capable of. I was the one advocating for extending Brian Burns this past year before we even went to the season, before he was able to up his price tag and continue to show his unique value to this team, because now you can't part ways with him. Not that you would want to part ways with him, but what are you going to rebuild the entire defensive line? Like, you need Brian Burns. You needed him this year, right? You should have extended him this past offseason. The only thing I kept saying is the play that he's had right now, does he exhibit the money that should be the number one type defensive end in the league? That was it. Just saying, don't overpay the guy. And we could have saved more money if we would have just done it earlier. Football teams need to know. Well, no, I know shoulda, coulda, woulda, Cody, but I'm trying to tell the team, and I'm trying to tell the fans sort of my position on players when it comes to extending them, is that each time you get closer to the end of a contract, the stakes go higher for both the team and the player. The risk of injury, the risk of whatever, and the price continues to go up. If you truly believe in a player, if you truly believe a guy is good, like the chat keeps saying, like we keep saying, you know what I'm saying? You should commit to that guy sooner than later. And you win that way as a team, and you beat the inflation. You beat the money a little bit. And we could have done this with Brian Burns this past offseason. Think about who you did extend. You extended Dante Jackson. You did some things. You let some guy go. You knew that you were going to need Brian Burns. That's it. I wish we would have done it this past season.
Can I just ask a question on that, though, Tony? Is he hadn't had a 10 sacks until this season, right?
Correct.
We were calling him the king of almost.
9.5, 2 years in a row, I think.
Right. We were calling him the king of almost.
That's like a good productivity.
If we would have signed him to like the third highest paid defensive end last year, which is not top, but up there because it's what he's going to perform.
Do you think he would have had to pay that much?
I'm just asking. That's what you want to pay him, though. Like, you want to pay him as one of the top guys. He's a top 3-4 defensive end right now.
No,
and that's what we would have. That's what we're going to end up having to pay him.
Well,
as.
Yeah, they say.
Are you saying if we would have paid
okay.
it, would you have been okay if we'd have paid him?
Wasn't
that
before we went into this season, though.
That's what I'm saying, though. That why would we have paid him
but
that
I would have
money?
said we could have gotten away with paying him like the top 6 number.
But he was betting on himself. He didn't have to sign that. Like. I mean,
yeah, but man, when you tempt out players with the, you know what? It's really hard to turn down guaranteed money.
It is. You're right.
One knee.
I think a lot of these guys bet on themselves. You know, when they know they're good.
I say take that money, bird in the hand. Unless you're CK, hold on to that ticket for the Panthers win the division. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to Josh from Mass.
Ooh, Panther Nation. It's your boy Josh from Mass. I know I've been quiet this year. You haven't heard from me so much, but I've been busy. Your boy is actually vice president of a Polish club up here in Massachusetts now. So I've been busy with that and all the responsibilities and goings on with the club. But anyways,
nice.
What a win yesterday, boys. What a win. And I mean, I'm hyped because next week I'm gonna be in Charlotte. I'm gonna be down in Charlotte at the game. I'm going to see us hopefully beat the shit out of Pittsburgh. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking not just the game, the city, of course, because every time I come down, everybody's so nice, everybody's so polite, everybody's so wonderful. The food's amazing, especially all the great beer y'all got. Y'all truly spoiled down there. And that's coming from somebody who lives, 5 minutes away from the, I'm sure, well-known Treehouse Brewing up here in Massachusetts. But, man, is Steve Wilkes just not making this case? Like, dude, if we had a better offensive coordinator and let's just say maybe Matt Corral didn't break his foot in preseason, I mean, not to say they would give him the nod, but, I mean, damn. Then you also got to remember, some of them early losses were a necessary evil because without them losses, Matt Rhule would still be here. He'd still be ruining our Sundays and our Thursday, one Thursday primetime game we get a year. It would have made the rest of our season a real shitter. So, I struggle too much with going, well, we would have nice win those games, man. Again, winning them games would have just meant Matt Rhule stayed around longer. So
exactly.
But we're in a spot where we control our destiny, and the chances there. We could have a home playoff game this year. It could be us. Why not us? Come on. Why not? No, we got to tank so we can get some quarterback who we don't know how he's going to pan out. Oh, no, that's good. That works out for the teams that do it. Go ahead, take a look. Take a look at the teams that historically did that shit and that don't ever work out. But what we can do is we can go to the bank on Sunday and get loud as fuck. Because that's our house, and that's what we're going to do. They can take their bum asses back to fucking Pittsburgh with an L. So let's do our fucking part, Panther Nation. Keep fucking pounding, and I will see you beautiful people all on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. Let's go, baby. Dude, shout out to our guy, Nick. Dude, I'm telling you, man, the Panther fans are feeling the energy. We're feeling the energy, man. And, yeah, I mean, the only thing that could have made this season better to me, literally the only thing, is if Matt Corral hadn't gotten hurt and he was the quarterback that we're rolling with and he was having some great rookie season. Like, God, that would be the stuff of dreams for me. But, that's not how it is, and we're not going to wish for something different, man. It is how it is, and this Panthers team, it's got people believing, Now, look, I will say, Nick has been every time Nick has come.
He is not good luck for the Carolina
Panthers.
It
is not.
But you know what? You could say that about 60,000 people for the last 5 years, too.
Yeah, no
doubt. But those guys have it tough. You know what? Screw that. It's not their luck. The Panthers owe them some gas money.
But I don't believe in jinxes anyway.
Well, you should.
No, I don't believe that shit. There's nothing to jinx.
Did we win? Did we get when we got the black hat?
Yeah.
Oh, I told you.
Oh, dude, no. You're always saying all black is the that's
because we never wore all black, bro. We always left the one missing piece.
It's true. The one missing piece did suck.
The missing piece was the problem. The number's 252-228-5098. We want to hear your thoughts on that. Also, some interesting things going on in the chat room about will we be in better shape with Matt Corral right now than Sam Darnold? To be honest, it's a difficult question to answer given the fact that Sam Darnold only passed for 120 yards last week. How could you be in much worse shape in so many ways when it comes to your quarterback situation? We'll be talking about Marcus Mariota leaving the team, though, as he's replaced by Desmond Ridder, though. They're going through it down in Atlanta. I'd love to hear about it. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's keep rocking.
Hi, this is Steve from Myrtle Beach. Hope you guys are having a good day. I'm so thrilled about the game on Sunday. I love it when we beat a hated rival such as Seattle. They've always been a pain in the behind, and so I'm glad we took them out, especially the way we did it in a really hard way. Now, everybody's complaining about Burns and that he's not doing everything. He has 10 sacks. Meanwhile, the great Hassan Reddick, who we all loved last year, had 11 sacks total for the whole season. So I don't see what everybody's going crazy for. I saw Burns do a lot of things on the field when he was in there, besides just not getting sacked. So I thought he was quite active. And I don't know why people aren't giving Chuba Hubbard more love. Cody's right. He looked really good and everything. And last year he had 612 yards and 5 touchdowns. So the man does have skills, and if he doesn't get thrown the ball too much, I think he'll be a nice accessory in the running game. Like I said, it was a great win, and I just love being these teams. Everybody was no negative. We can't sign now. I'm not going to sign in and sign that. And Lawrence, this whole thing about Lawrence with Jacksonville, I hope I never hear his name again. Like I said, it's great. You guys are great. Being a little more happy. We had a great win, and hopefully we'll win the next 4 and have a good laugh over the rest of the league. Okay, you guys take care.
What a good call. What a good call. I threatened. I was like, man, if this guy says Shy Smith, though, he's getting bounced. Don't be so hard.
Dude,
on
you should listen to me more often, man.
Man, look, you guys are just look, you little babies in the podcasting world, baby. You still got some years to get on you on behind these seasons. You're gonna see this. You're gonna find these darlings. You're gonna love them. You're gonna do all this, and you're gonna have one game. And all of a sudden, you're gonna be hating Chuba Hubbard in 3 weeks again.
We're not babies. You're an old curmudgeon.
Coney Ealy, baby. Tell you that name. You guys
Coney
remember
was
him?
good for a while.
No, not for a while. He played one game in his rookie season. That was the most epic game.
So what, you'll never give Chuba Hubbard props because Coney Ealy.
No, I was all in on Coney Ealy. The Panthers gave him the starting job.
You're jaded. You have to judge each player by themselves.
Coney Ealy did more in one game for the Carolina Panthers than Chuba Hubbard's done in 3 seasons. The two numbers 252-228-5098. Might have been 2 seasons. I'm not sure. Let's go to the next call. Oh wait, that's the same one.
Hi.
I'm gonna make less mistakes one day.
You, what's good, C3? It's JD864. Hey, I'm tuned in, listening to the show. It's a bunch of comments. People are posting in the chat. Some comments I saw on Twitter, on other Panther sites, where people were complaining about DJ Moore not having any reception in the past game, and I truly can't wrap my mind around if you watch the game. It's not even a matter of going back and watching it. Watching the game live, there's more to football for every position. There's more to football than a wide receiver putting up a bunch of numbers. Yes, you would love to see that shit, but it says a lot about a player. It says a lot about an organization, about a team. I'm watching this game, and DJ, he had no catches. But I saw DJ out there in the fucking run game, blocking setting solid blocks. Like the man out there, hey, I got to block this corner. I'm going to push your ass 5 yards down the field. He was putting in work. We won that game 30-. I already forgot the damn score. We win that game.
I think it was 30-20.
And our number one receiver had no catches. This shit sounds insane. But we won that game, put 30 points up on the Seahawks. And our number one receiver had no catches. Now, mind you, we left 11 points off the board because Sam missed DJ on a seam route that would have been a walk-in touchdown. And then there were numerous times where I saw McAdoo, for all the shit that he's getting about play calling, there are multiple times throughout the game where I saw McAdoo dial up shot plays. Seattle was sending blitzes on almost every play. So Sam get the ball, play action, drop back. He's getting pressure in his face. He's not able to push it downfield. How many of those shot plays do you think DJ would have been the target on? Seattle was doing everything it could to. They were trying to stop the damn run. They were run blitzing. So if we call it play action play, that whole time the play is developing, that's a few more seconds for the blitzers to get to Sam. And Sam, to his credit, was making smart decisions with the ball. I'm gonna just throw this shit away. Hey, I feel like somebody's on my back. Let me just throw it away.
Yeah.
How is anyone complaining? Oh, DJ had no.
Yeah, we should.
I guess if you play fantasy football or if you're making bets and you want a DJ, you expect the DJ to eat that game. I can understand if you're upset. But if you're just watching this shit and you have a guy of his caliber and he doesn't do anything that's going to show up in the stat sheet, but you watch the game and you see him out there blocking. That's not something wide receivers are akin to doing. But he out there putting in work. But now let me complain because he don't have a bunch of catches. Hey, Sam only threw for 120-something yards.
Look, JD, you're right in everything you're saying. The complaints, the people that are complaining about DJ's production and kind of relating that to the game plan are the problem. There really is no problem there. Is the dude had a knee injury in the game. So, right, like he's going to be like he probably didn't play as much as I don't know when exactly that injury happened. On like the first drive of the game, though, or early on in the game, he was wide open and Sam Darnold didn't throw the pass, didn't put enough air underneath the pass, and he would have walked in for like a 40-yard touchdown. So imagine the game unfolding where he had like 2 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. Nobody would even mention it. And on top of that, the game plan unfolded where you didn't have to throw the ball at all. So you're right, exactly, that people shouldn't be complaining about DJ's production at all. Kind of the question goes to Sam Darnold's performance. He didn't have to throw the ball much, and if the Panthers defense wouldn't have softened up against the Seahawks passing game, he would have had to throw the ball even less, probably. Sam made 2 errors I mean, probably more than that if we really went and ever looked at every play. But there's 2 moments in the game when he missed that DJ pass. That blows the doors off of this game early in a way.
Yeah.
Gives them confidence. It's a big play. That would have been awesome. So he missed that play. That was his fault. He underthrew the ball. And it looked like last week he had one like that, the first start he had, where it just looked like it took too long for it to click, like what was happening. Like if he could have just processed a little faster, he would have made the play because it's the right read, just a half second late and not thinking about what's really happening. The other play was down kind of in that 4th down territory. You know, it's just, it wasn't a good time. Like we got down there and we went for it twice on 4th down. You know, we got one of them on the run game. He just we didn't look comfortable in the red zone. He didn't look comfortable. So those 2 moments right there, you change those 2 moments and Sam Darnold has a 200-yard game, 2 touchdowns. And you're talking about how he's, so I don't think it was that bad. I don't think he played poorly. I think that just thank God you didn't have to use him any more than that. And you're setting him up in a good place. You're actually, this is what Sam Darnold needed probably when he was a Jet. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
Yeah, it's JD864 again. I'm happy we won the game. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around how some people are so pessimistic that you win a game, but I guess it's because we won it, but we didn't win it in the fashion that these individuals wanted us to win it in. It's the same way. I guarantee you, if the Panthers were to draft a quarterback, there are going to be people bitching because it's not the quarterback they wanted them to draft. Like,
of course.
Like the negativity that exists around, like it just bugs me. Like, can we all just use a little ounce of logic, just apply a little bit of logic to the things we're saying? That should really. I probably shouldn't even be letting it get to me like it is, but I hate when I see good and then all I hear from others is, "Oh, this should be done this way." Like, nah, man, just we won a game. That rushing attack has been what it's been throughout the fucking since Wilkes took over. That's because Wilkes has an identity. That's what he wants to see the team doing. All right. And I've little doubt in my mind with the success the offense is having, should there come a game where in which you ask Sam to throw it a little bit more, Sam's probably going to look better than he's looked in his career. The dude, he understands he does not need to fucking do everything in order for the offense to be successful. He's a part of it, not the offense. McAdoo was doing for Sam what the Jets coaching staff should have been doing for him, what Rhule and Brady should have been doing for him. And that's dumbing down the offense, rolling him out of the fucking pocket, making his reads simple. That's how you build up a QB. And I'm seeing McAdoo do that shit. So, yo, I don't know. I done got angry as hell now.
Sounds like a kid getting murdered in the background.
Hey, keep pounding. Appreciate what you guys do. I'm out.
Look, JD, see, this is the problem. Poor JD. Mr. Man, Mr. Natural Optimist, Mr. Glass Half Full, who lives in paradise, actually, in Hawaii, despite the kid being murdered in the background, is actually heavenly. He's like this, don't mess with my stress, kid. No, this is, look, just don't look on the internet then. As everybody in the world is going to be upset about everything, even when good stuff happens, bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is who realistically could look at this game and be upset about the way we won it? We went on the road and beat the shit out of the Seahawks. Like, I mean, despite the kind of coming back at the end, this game was in hand the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, they were up like 17-3 or something or nothing. Man,
to be honest, though, like I feel like JD is talking specifically to fans like G Baby. Like when we win, it's not the way you wanted to win, so therefore it's invalid. You know what I mean? Or it's like when the
how
Panthers,
could you even win in this season in a way you wanted to win? What do you think all of a sudden that Sam Darnold's going to come out there and beat Patrick Mahomes?
You're not going to get your way. And what JD is saying is, dude, when we get a W, quit bitching about it, man. Like put a Coke in a smile and shut the fuck up and be happy. Like Sam isn't a good quarterback. We're not going to win with him. Okay, we're not putting the ball in Sam's hands that much. We're literally not asking him to do all that much, and still people are complaining.
Hey.
I'm 100% with JD. I don't understand it for the life of me. And by the way, it's like we're also reactionary, right? When the player is playing bad, we're like, they're terrible.
You mean when they're playing good and you go, Chuba Hubbard is so awesome? You mean like that reactionary? Or Shi Smith is now
I'm talking the other way around.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong, Cody.
I'm talking the other
Works
way
both
around.
ways.
When you see a player that has not been playing good, and then you just label them forever, they suck. They'll never make it. No, you're reactionary.
You mean like you label Gardner
You're
Minshew?
reactionary. And if anything, Chuba Hubbard proves my point. If I would have made my opinion on Chuba early on in his career, Chuba sucks, he's not good, whatever. No, you keep on playing, you keep on growing, and you get better. Right now, we have to give Sam Darnold credit for doing all the things that we knocked him for not doing before. He's taking care of the football. Like JD said, he's throwing the ball away instead of throwing it into double coverage.
He didn't make any mistakes.
Yeah, and how could you not commend him for that when that has been such a critique on how Sam Darnold plays?
He didn't do what the Carr guy did in Oakland or in Las Vegas when they lost to the Rams and Baker Mayfield, right? Who blew it at the times when they were ahead. That actually was the best thing that Sam Darnold did that didn't make a mistake. But come on, get off the dang Chuba Hubbard thing.
Can I just say though, with the
got a Chuba for Chuba.
How about you get on the Chuba Hubbard thing?
I will not get on that.
I'm not on the Chuba Hubbard thing yet. I'm willing to get on it, but I'm not on it yet.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm the same way.
Yeah, can I just say that to add to the point of what the caller says, like I just want to remind everybody, Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl with like 128 passing yards. So if you don't need the quarterback to do it all, then I'm just putting that out there. He had like 128 passing yards in his first
Panthers
Super Bowl.
to the Super Bowl, CK.
Yeah, I think that what he's telling me is that Sam Darnold is the greatest quarterback of all time.
No.
Sam Darnold greater than Nick Foles?
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
How about
Not
this?
until it
If
gets
we,
to tip.
how about this? If we win this year, yeah, dude.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Like
Yeah,
if you won it,
1000%.
I would almost say that if Sam Darnold somehow got to the NFC Championship this year, I would say Sam Darnold greater than Nick Foles.
You know that if he wins a playoff game, we're going to be saying that, right? Sign Sam Darnold if he wins a playoff game. Sign this guy.
Oh, you know, we would. Well, actually, we would have to.
You have to. Yeah.
You'd have to have the conversation at least.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
hey,
what else are you going to do?
Why do all three of you give my cripple ass the opportunity to dunk on you? If you're all going to, if all three of you are going to say,
I know what he's about to say.
That Chuba Hubbard is not good. You're letting my cripple ass come and strut up on this podcast anytime that Chuba Hubbard balls out and fucking does what he did last game. I'm inclined to believe that he's going to do that. So come on, you're making.
I don't know how you're
going
to dunk on us, dude.
No, I don't either.
Oh,
can I go real quick?
What would you about?
Can I
have
go
to
real
roll
quick?
off like 800 yards for that to be a dunk.
Hey,
dude, my
Cody,
chair has a special function. Don't worry about it.
Cody, real quick,
right.
I just want to go over Chuba Hubbard's stats for the year. Game 1, 3 yards. Game 2, 0 yards. Game 3, 25 yards. Game 4, 0 yards. Game 5, 6 yards. Game 6, 63 yards. Game 7, 14 yards. Game 8, 0 yards. Like, dude, this guy, he has the potential to be good, and I like him where he's at as our backup, but he's not a superstar yet.
He's not a superstar. He's not even a good player yet.
Hold on.
Hey, don't even say he's not even
no. Am I saying
yet.
that he's a superstar?
You're saying he's part of a
No,
three-headed
I'm saying that he's not trash like a lot of other people try and make him out to be. Like, oh,
he's
God.
Not trash. I'll
but
agree
you
with
did say
trash.
get on the Chuba.
He's not trash.
You're riding the Chuba, and I tell you this is Cameron Artis Payne greater than Chuba Hubbard by a mile. The number is 252-228-5098. Next call. Why do you not like any players that you just don't remember?
Tillman here, rocking my Brian Burns jersey
Why
on
do you not
Victory
like
Monday.
Panther players?
Fucking go. Awesome to see the team really rallying behind Wilks, our future head coach. Fingers crossed. Also wanted to highlight Sam Darnold, still undefeated with the beard. Looks freaking sick. But I have a question for you guys. With our new offense, just kind of running the ball down the throats of opposing defenses, do you guys think Sam Darnold will ever throw for more than 200 yards for the rest of the season? Or is it just going to be pretty much him running the ball 3 times and then play action, run, play action, and then DJ Moore pretty much gets 0 touches, and I wasted my second-round pick on DJ Moore in fantasy? Just want to get you guys' thoughts. Go Panthers, keep pounding. Let's go. Next week, no losses, baby.
I hope you don't need DJ Moore in your fantasy league because the injury is going to be the biggest problem. Sam Darnold coming back was actually helpful for him over a Baker Mayfield type project. He does get him the ball. The Panthers are going to have to pass the ball at some point.
Right.
You know, I mean, even if they were to crazily run to the playoffs, is that in a playoff game, there's no way you win the game by just being one-dimensional.
Right.
So at some point, Sam Darnold's going to have to be part of the game plan. And it can't just be run. But here's the thing is the Seahawks.
How about we run Sam more?
No, actually, he's got great wheels. He's got great wheels.
Yeah.
One of the things that I tried to argue when we were trying to find anything good about the acquisition of Baker Mayfield was that his mobility was not that less. Like, it wasn't like Darnold's was better, but not like stratospherically better.
Right.
And it is stratospherically better. I will say that. And the other thing, I had a big one. Shoot, it was about the running game. We got to run the game. All right. It'll come to me. Oh, it was about the game with the Seahawks. And can we bring up the Ryan quote real quick and how one of the things is, and this goes back to JD's call. This goes back to like how you need to win, how you want to win. Sometimes the opponent dictates how you play them and what you should be trying to do to them. The Seahawks have given up like over 160 yards to the Raiders one time this year. They gave up a ton of yards to us. They've been bludgeoned by several teams, and that's the way to beat them. And right now, last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers, although Trubisky was responsible for those 3 picks and really could have had the opportunity to win the game, what ultimately happened, though, is the Raiders defense, not the Raiders, the Steelers defense just simply could not stop. And I guess we don't have the quote. I thought we had it. Could simply not stop the Baltimore Ravens running attack. So if anything, is like, we're going to have to pass it at some point, but we don't need to pass it till we need to pass it. Right now, we're playing teams that can't stop the run. So why don't you go out there and muscle up, man up, and make them stop the run? And that's what we did against the Seahawks, and they couldn't do it. So expect that. And maybe that makes me feel better about my prize pick. Makes me feel better about my prize pick. The numbers. He's back. 252-228-5098.
Hey, what's good, fellas? It's Corey calling in. I'm gonna give my take on the game.
Well, Corey,
I'm real hyped up right now because Tony, you talking spicy about Brian. And you know what?
Oh God,
we're splitting hairs. We're talking semantics, and I know, like you. Nobody on this team, nobody thinks Brian Burns is like overrated or bad. Well, niggas do think that he's overrated, but like I don't understand. And I feel like I call in every week and talk about Brian Burns at this point, but I don't understand what more people are expecting or want from this guy, to where it's like, okay, yesterday he had a quiet game. Charles Cross, you know what I'm saying, he had a great ass game, and Brian Burns didn't do much on the stat sheet in a game that we won, at least, right? So like in 2 weeks ago he had the game everybody kept saying he needed to have. Like Tony's saying, like this 2-sack breakout game, like he just had it. He just had it a couple weeks ago, and then we had a bye, and then this next week it was a slow week. But like we're talking about a guy who's already set a career high in sacks with games left to play. He's 24. Like he's gonna get a bag. Like that's what great players demand. And you keep like putting them up to this Nick Bosa, Von Miller standard, and it's like that's not how it works, man. There's one or two of those dudes in the league at any given time, and
right.
If he resets the edge rusher market, then guess what? Nick Bosa or Michael Parsons is going to reset it in 3 or 4 years anyway. That's how this shit goes. Brian Burns is an elite player at an elite age, and we didn't trade him, so now he's going to get the bag, and he's going to be worth whatever we pay him. We've already seen him take over games, and it's like as soon as he comes in and has like a quiet game, niggas want to hop on his head and prove a point that they already have about the guy. When again we won, our defense made plays, and he didn't have the biggest game to have his quote unquote breakout game that he's already had multiple times. He's having a breakout season. So again, I don't know what y'all want. I don't know what was gonna make people happy with just trading him and getting him. If they wanted 2 first-round picks, niggas are gonna be mad that they didn't get 2 first-round picks for him. So anything else is just gonna be black. But again, man, okay, he's not Von Miller. Fine. He's not the greatest pass rusher of our generation. But guess what, man? He's getting better each and every year. And this year has by far been his best year. I don't know, man. I didn't even get to talk about the game. I'm running out of time just hopping on Brian Burns' dick. But yeah, bro, pay the man and don't fucking do this. Otherwise, what else are you going to do? Keep on.
I mean, he was talking to you. Why are you applauding?
I'm applauding him because look, you have no choice to pay him. See, again, everybody's missing my entire point. Is that I've wanted to, you actually have no way to build this team going forward without Brian Burns.
Yeah.
And that was the case before this season, honestly. So that's all I've been trying to put out there. And now you are. If he gets 2 more sacks this year, right? And he finishes the year, you probably need to get 3 to finish in the top 5, I would think.
Did they say he got half a sack last game? Because if he did, he already had 10.5. That'll put him at 11 sacks already.
Right. So, but to finish in the top 5 of the league, you're probably going to have 14, I would think, is this year.
Yeah.
And look, Myles Garrett at one point. Why is he not at the top of the list? He was like on pace for like a bazillion sacks earlier in the season. What happened to him? Did he get hurt? I don't know. But the point that I'm just, again, everybody's missing the point. Or at least maybe I'm not making the point clearly enough, and that is,
I think that's.
I think we should have signed him
hurt.
prior to the season, and now you're going to have to pay him Von Miller money.
But he deserves it, Von. I mean, he deserves that.
Not saying he doesn't deserve anything. It doesn't. Sometimes it's not about deserving. The NFL is like this. Is like you got to pay a quarterback what a quarterback's worth. You're going to have to pay him what a defensive end is worth. But if you would have signed him, look. And again, I identified this into the season going in. I don't want to flog this too much, but I feel like I say it every week too, as everybody continues to say that I'm just not dogging him, is that he had 2 years and 9.5 sacks. The Panthers were even flirting maybe with trading him earlier for 2 picks. You know what I'm saying? And people were thinking you should do that. You could have got him at an under 10 sack number maybe as a budding player. Maybe he does it, sign it. Maybe he bets on himself. I don't believe it. I think if you structure the deal right enough, it entices him to sign the deal now. I can get the money and stay. If anything, maybe Brian Burns was concerned about the damn Matt Rhule situation. It's like, I don't want to be here. That might have been the more reason that he wouldn't sign the deal because of the risk. But again, they made him the face of the franchise this past offseason. They debuted the black uniforms on him. They've put him on the commercials. They've had him front and center in the interviews. If you knew you were going to do this anyway, you could have done it earlier.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, but remember, 2 points to be made. There's no guarantee that he would have signed the contract.
Okay.
When you wanted to sign him, because he could have said, "Nah, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to finish out the season and ball like I feel like I can, and I'm going to go and try and get paid." He could have done that. And number 2 is, I think one of the reasons why I don't care as much if the Panthers do sign a really expensive contract to Brian Burns is because we're not paying quarterback money. And that matters. Like,
we're going to have no choice, Cody. We cannot field a defense without Brian Burns next year. It would be 100%, unfeasible.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care if they
you're going to have to pay him the bag.
Yeah, you're going to have to, but I don't care because 1, he's worth it. Number 2, it makes it where all you have to do is add a few more extra pieces, and then you really make this defensive line nightmare fuel. And then number 3, we're not paying all this guaranteed money to a quarterback right now that's going to eat up most of our salary cap. It'll be a big hit, but with Fitterer and Suleiman being able to restructure deals, it's not something that I'm worried about.
The only reason that Brian Burns would not have signed the contract extension if you would have negotiated him with legitimately good faith, in a really enticing deal this offseason, is the fear of continuing to be with Matt Rhule. That is the only possible reason, because here's the thing is Kev gets me here. Guaranteed money is money in the bank, and you can give us these giant contracts, but the more guaranteed money you get now is that's money in the bank to invest and build upon. So if you get 60 million now, it's better than 80 million in 3 years, because you can't be using that 60 million to be making money. The only other thing I will say this too is that one of the things that I don't think that players, maybe this was a tactical mistake by Brian Burns if he did turn that down, because if he is on the progression that you guys believe to continue to be better, right? This is not the best Brian Burns we have seen yet. If you really do want to bet on yourself in the NFL, you just sign shorter term deals so you can get another deal. If he's 25? What is he? He's young, right?
Yeah, he's young. 24,
25. So if he signed a 4-year deal now, he could be renegotiating when he's 28.
Yeah.
And you can, the people that make the big money in the NFL sign multiple deals.
Right, but you can only do that when you're an elite player. You're talking about the players like Von Miller.
Better, if he could get an elite player contract or close to it right now, and then he only gets better over the next 2 years, you put pieces around him, he looks better in a better system. In 3 years, he's on the last year of his deal. You're already thinking either extension, trade, or bursting into free agency, and that's another big contract.
Right. Well,
but if you wait another year to do it, and then you get long, now he might not be negotiating his next contract till he's 29 or 30. Right. And that is, you're entering a different kind of state of what you can command, because people are worried if you're on the back end.
Well, players like Von Miller, you remember he was in that 2011 draft class. So I imagine, I have to look it up. I imagine he signed 2 big deals with the Broncos. Then after his second big deal was
giant
over,
one with the Broncos. Then he got traded to the Rams and he did something with them. Maybe they gave him money, and then he got another giant with the Bills.
Well, he had to have played 8 or 9 years with the Broncos because I mean he was drafted in 2011. Like he didn't play for the Rams till last year, so he had to have had at least 2 deals.
No? Okay, we'll look it up.
He may have did 2 years. I'm not sure.
You want to get more contracts though. If you're actually good,
right.
the more if you're a good player, the more contracts you get, the more money you make.
100%, yeah.
And you inflate the contract in 4 years, you get that inflationary bump. Even if you're not a top 5 player, you're probably getting paid money of what a type 5 player is getting paid now. The number's 252-228-5098. Next call.
Hey guys, it's the ground that may not be able to make him howl because somehow I woke up with a nasty ass head cold.
Oh, no.
CK.
G baby, I wasn't gonna subject you to me sounding like this, but G baby's dumbass made me
sick.
I gotta talk about him because he is he's sitting there talking about, oh, you're gonna wish we tanked. I know he didn't make that comment, but I'm not just talking to people. I'm not just talking to G baby. I'm talking about people like his ass. And usually when I make these calls, I would do the G baby voice, but like I said, I woke up with a gnarly head cold today. And I went to work. I don't know if I'll go tomorrow. Like, that's what we're talking about here. But G baby, you are, without a doubt, the fakest Panther fan I have ever come across. And I said what I said, and I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, and I meant what I meant. You stand in direct opposition to everything that our nation was built on. Our nation was built on the pounding.
I think about Panther Nation.
And we're doing it. We're pounding. We're not giving up. And your ass is sitting over here. I don't know if you're a Falcons fan or something. Matter of fact, go root for them because they're taking. Because Marcus Mariota couldn't get it. Had to leave their dirty asses. I heard about that, but But G baby, ice up, toughen up, get it together. And I know you ain't gonna do the latter two because you ain't never had your shit together and you ain't never been tough. You've always been a bitch. That's why you never
Joey.
what I said because
it's getting too personal now,
anyway,
guys. Too personal now. I like the inter-rivalries. I thought the Panther you don't know what this nation was first built. I thought that was funny. But come on, guys. Look at this. I think Von Miller is probably a bad example of this, guys. He's been able to negotiate 2 big contracts, but his first contract, he was on a 5-year option, right? So that stinks for those first round players. He then gets a giant contract. His history was this. Hold on. There it goes. He got a guaranteed of $42 million over 10 years, I think it said. 6 years. I saw a 10-year deal. I swear it said 10-year deal. 6 years, $42 million, 114 overall. And then when he went to the Bills, he got another 6 years, $45 million. So he made the same contract twice. Trying to think of another defensive end, though. Somebody who maybe has been a top tier defensive end. That's a long. He hasn't been able. Maybe that's somebody. He would have had the 5th year option too. Interesting. The Bills paid him a shit ton of money.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
He was going to be a Cowboy otherwise. I'm sure he didn't get that back.
How old is
he? By the way, I think he's 33.
He got drafted.
Think about that, Greg. Though, think
He's
about
33.
this: is what if he was able, though? If you're Brian Burns and you can sign that contract and then negotiate another one when you're not 33, but when you're 29.
Yeah,
then you maybe even get another one when you're 33. Like, I mean, like that's kind of what you're. Yeah. So,
well, you'd mentioned before that we can't build this defense without him. If you're still that guy at 33, like Von Miller is right now, then you can get paid that money. That's the trick.
Oh yeah. But like we need him to be that player.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is that like, isn't the contractual negotiations generally about leverage? Is like got some of it to do with it, right? Look at what Kirk Cousins has been able to do to teams. He's had leverage. They've had the franchise tag on him, and then he's like, "Nah, I'm only taking guaranteed money." We've seen teams bully players, bully teams, and teams bully players in a way.
Yeah.
But you don't want to put yourself in the position as a franchise to where you have to do dumb stuff. Dave Gettleman used to always say this. When we used to like Dave Gettleman, we thought he was an awesome GM. He said you use free agency to set up the draft, so you don't have to reach in the draft to fill needs. It's a perfect way of describing it. But guess what Dave Gettleman did when he rescinded Josh Norman's franchise tag? He then had to go and draft all these and I'm just saying is Brian Bird's number only got more expensive, not only because he's played well, but because like the Panthers, he knows he's got the Panthers in a headlock.
Yeah. I mean, but he did
good for him, dude.
Yeah, good for him.
And especially if you've been on a team that's been losing their ass the past few years, and due to their own incompetency, they just can't get out of their own way. Yeah, good for Brian. He deserves it, man. Yeah. Like I'm, and by the way, I did want to point out this comment. I think your boy KG has the right of it. He says, I think G Baby is really a Cam fan that's having a hard time coping with that era being over.
Yeah.
And I can empathize because I was salty AF when 89 got run out of town.
Yeah.
And G Baby brings out the passion of people, but I also want to agree with Tony. When I'm on the free for all, I don't let people cuss at each other and call each other like, names and shit.
Yeah.
We got to stop doing that. We're not trying to promote that. Y'all can disagree, but don't call each other names.
I like the jesting. I like that. Let's make it like smart jesting.
Right.
Instead of mean jesting.
Sure. Use your intellect and your intelligence to make a better argument than the people that you disagree with. And that's how you dunk on them. That's what we're going to do. If you want to be right, then be right. But do it without the name calling. That's all we ask. Everyone.
Let's go to the next call. You dummy.
Hey, man, it's Corey calling again. While I'm on the topic of just ranting, this is about as good a time as any to go ahead and say, shut the hell up about Justin Fields and what we should have done and all this and that.
Hey.
J.C. Horn was our pick. J.C. Horn is on our team. J.C. Horn is an elite player. Period. Point blank. That's it. Okay? Like, we don't have a quarterback still. I understand. We need a quarterback to win. I get it. Quarterbacks are more valuable than defensive backs. Okay. But, like, that doesn't negate the flight. I don't get it, man. Like, I don't know what people were expecting or what. Like, Justin Fields comes out and it's finally looking like good. Once again, he's looking good. He has not looked amazing this season. That motherfucker can run his ass off. Like, one of the most like electric runners in the NFL. But he's still got a lot to get better at to be considered a quote unquote franchise quarterback. I think he will get there. I think it's going to be great. But the way that people are just like talking and stamping like it's a done deal and that we just made the wrong choice. First of all, we were never going to draft the motherfucker. We traded for Sam Darnold. We traded 3 picks for Sam Darnold less than a month before. Do y'all know how mad y'all would have been if we traded 3 picks for a 24-year-old quarterback and then drafted another quarterback in the top 10 of the same year? Like, that would have just been a terrible allocation of resources. Whether you believe it or not, the team last year believed that Sam Darnold was going to be the guy. They went all in on this motherfucker, traded for him, and extended him for his 5th-round option. He was never 5th-year option. He was never, ever going to be drafted a rookie first-round top 10 quarterback and then just have him breathing out his neck all training camp and all season. As soon as he throws the pick, we call him for Justin Fields. Like Matt Rhule didn't even bring in anybody to compete with Sam Darnold like on the veteran tip because he wanted Sam to have the job and have the confidence and go out there with knowing that the full team was behind him. Why the fuck would we ever draft it was never going to happen. But like it or not, it was never going to happen. So I don't know why we're still harping on it almost 2 years later when, again, the player we drafted is great. That motherfucker is great. So, like, we crying over spilled milk and shit that does not pertain to this team at all anymore. And every time you see Justin Fields make a great play, you don't have to think about how we could have had him. Because guess what, man? We got somebody on our team just making plays too. Yeah, good win. I'm hyped up this morning. I'm tired of the bad takes, man. Y'all I don't know. We have great players on the team, and I feel like motherfuckers are splitting hairs. They want it to be something else. And it's like I don't be happy with what we got because it's better than what it's been doing, man. Like we're on the up and up. We're on the upswing. I feel like we got good things to talk about as a fan base. So y'all keep coming out all the great content, man. Keep on it.
Absolutely, man. I mean, look, how about this? You know how I said earlier that PFF, we just use their numbers when they back up?
It's going to be Brian Burns, like the best defensive end in the history of the world.
J.C. Horn, according to PFF, among cornerbacks, he has the lowest passer rating allowed, 5.8. So guess what, dude? J.C. Horn's the best corner in the NFL. I don't want to hear shit about it. Am I wrong? No. I don't give a shit, dude. I agree with the caller. To all the fans that are like, oh, we should have had Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields. I wanted him at the time. And guess what? I was wrong. J.C. Horn is a badass. He is a staple of our defense. And I'm not sorry about nothing, Greg.
No. I agree with you 100%. This is on something totally different. Look at the number 2 name on that list. And remember, go back and check the tapes. This guy loved him. Yeah, look at the number 2 guy on that list. James Bradbury, baby.
Instead of him.
Huh?
Guess who we chose instead of James Bradbury? Anybody remember? I think
we chose James Bradbury. We
we let him go in free agency.
Oh, Dante Jackson, right?
I think that was when we paid Shaq.
Yeah, because we let Bradbury walk and we paid Shaq more money.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah,
but Bradbury's just been a solid player. He was pretty solid in New York.
Hey,
now he's on a good team.
I think Shaq's like his 3rd year in a row of having 100+ tackles. So I mean, look, I know we shit on Shaq.
Yeah, no, like those days. I mean, is Shaq? He hasn't filled the shoes, of that's it. That's the only reason. Until we get a linebacker that is like transcendent again, Panther fans, it's just going to be like with Cam. Luke and TD created this. We've had a history of great linebackers for the Carolina Panthers, whether it was Witherspoon and Dan Morgan to John Beeson and Thomas Davis to Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly. We've had this like great run of linebackers, and Shaq, we were hoping was just going to continue that. And it's just kind of a hard run to continue. So it's just like this until we get the next Luke Kuechly and the next Cam. We're going to be talking about Cam and Luke Kuechly. Next call.
Every time somebody brings up Brian Burns, Tony got to talk about Julius Peppers and Von Miller. Those are 2 of the best edge rushers of all time. What are we talking about? Damn. Reset the market. Somebody else is going to reset it in another year. That's how this shit works.
All right. I mean, fair point. Where do you think, here's a tough question, and it's going to be tough for the young cats to answer. Where does Brian Burns, where does he fit in the pantheon of Panther defensive ends historically? I mean, obviously you're going to have to say this is that Julius Peppers is the number 1. You could argue that there was those 90s guys. We had Kevin Green, who had 15 sacks for us, but that was at the latter end of his career. There was also one other dude that we got that had a good year. I think he was a free Gilbert. But think about this is like, what is the pantheon in the order? Not even the order, but what's the top? And is Brian Burns, where is he on that list? Is you got to think of names like Julius Peppers. You got to think of names like Charles Johnson. I think Mike Rucker is going to be up there.
Greg Hardy, whether we like it or not.
Greg Hardy had, maybe for 2 seasons.
Yeah, 2 seasons for him.
So I think you have to put Brian Burns ahead of Greg Hardy now, but just because if he has one more season of being a valuable member of the team, who else are there? Somebody else can give me a name that I'm probably missing. I knew we had Pep, Johnson, Rucker. Who do we have in the 03 season? It was Rucker and Peppers? That was the two,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Ooh, Chris Jenkins up the middle. So, like, maybe is Brian Burns what top 4 all-time defensive end for the Carolina Panthers? You guys ready to say that?
I don't think you're ready to say that yet. I think he's on the path to be there. You got to remember he's only in his 4th or 5th year, and those are the guys you're talking about played 8-9 years.
Yeah, Greg,
Carolina,
big money.
so-
Going to play a good 8 years.
Yeah.
Easy. Buckner. Oh no, it's Buckner and Jenkins. So yeah, maybe. You know what? He might be. Oof. Great question to answer. We're gonna have to do some research on that question about who are the best defensive ends of all time in Carolina Panthers history, and is Kevin Green's man. Kevin Green had 2 15-sack seasons, I believe, or 14. Like he had a big, even though he was at the end of his term and he was doing wrestling and stuff or whatever. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. All right. Last 2 calls of the night so far, it looks like. And then we've got a couple more things to talk about and we'll get out of here. Ice some people up too.
Yeah, this is Tim Estes. I just had to call and say Pat McAfee ain't got shit on the C3 Panther Nation podcast.
Wow.
Tim, you're the motherfucking man, bro. We love you, dog.
Great member of the C3 fam. All right, last call.
Hey, yo, me C-Dog.
C-Dog.
What's the last call?
I wasn't even going to call in, man. I was just sitting back listening to this show. And my man got down, called in, talking about that. Hold on, real quick, before I even get started with my rant. When you come in here, make sure you got to hit the like button. Make sure you got to subscribe. You know what I'm saying? These boys always putting out great content. We got this Terrific Tuesday, another great show on Tuesday. Then we got them Free for All Friday coming up Friday. Call in, you know what I'm saying? Cash out, whoop-de-woo, whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, man, real short and sweet. Man, I don't be gonna call me that, man. Old buddy got that call in, got that get them off from the G baby, man.
Oh,
everybody got a goddamn right to their own goddamn opinion. Man, got that G baby, got that be having different opinions a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? I still got to give him up for the shout out. You know what I'm saying? But my man got them who was up here disrespecting G baby, man. I don't want to hear you no more up here talking about them with that crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Right up, really trying to get that shit. You know, motherfuckers got
C-Dog the peacekeeper.
Stuff sometimes on their goddamn telephone or internet or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We got them. We got them face to face. We got them G baby. You won't really got them talking like that. You know what I'm saying? We got, hey man, we got them cool down. We got them get back in your lane and talk football. You know what I'm saying? Nah, all this rah-rah bullshit that you know you won't face this man face to face. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? But with that,
it's a good family call right here.
Got that Steve Wilks doing a goddamn great job. We're gonna keep pounding the goddamn ball. We're gonna goddamn keep stacking this shit. Like goddamn coach say, goddamn go ahead and hire him full time. Shit, go ahead and pay Brian Burns. Shit, he worth it. He got down playing on shows. We get about 15 sacks this season. Shit, it's good up in games, but we're gonna see. Then and Trey got that Dante Jackson in the off season. We don't need him. Anyways, everybody have a great night. You come in here, hit the like button. Come in here, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have a great night. Keep pounding. See you dog night.
Hey, C-Dog. Dude,
Peacekeeper, like you said.
Dude, C-Dog is that chill ass uncle who's been around the block. He's always gonna keep it real with you. C-Dog is the man. He's like, hey, respect each other's differences of opinions and keep it moving, man. And more importantly, like he said, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, show some love to the C3 Panther podcast. And yeah, man, it's like we should all be on good vibes, right? No matter what.
Right now, I mean, first of all, there's there's a few people that, again, we want to remind you guys that we're not sports journalists. I'm not a football expert. I'm an expert football fan. This is a show that is meant to be passionate, to be opinionated, and to have those opinions that fans do. Right. So, look, I love the intercaller jesting to a degree. I love the bets that people make on this. I love the poking and the jokes and the imitating people's voices. So, yeah, like, look, his family's getting spats, but here we're going to I just listen to Sea-Dog. Just listen to Sea-Dog. And I want to give a shout out. A couple of things is tomorrow night, we have got the C3 Beat Check, and we have Mark Burgeon from the Believe in Steelers podcast, who is co-host with Ike Taylor. And they do the Believe in. They're going to help us preview the Pittsburgh matchup tomorrow at 8:30. That guest, we're going to try to line up potentially a Panthers beat reporter at 8. Cody and I will jump on a few minutes before and hang out with Mark Burgeon of the Believe in Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. But real shout out though to my man Cam Rogers, who is helps run the Believe network, and he's the one that always gets us these guests. Man, he's been so gracious and so thoughtful of the C3 Panthers podcast, because Tony gets so slack sometimes, particularly when it's the last week of school. I'm grading exams and papers like crazy. I'm so behind right now. It is crunch time for me. But you, Cam Rogers, is partnering with Run Your Pool, and he's got something coming up. And what you can see is I'm going to give you guys. I put the image up, or the kind of, I guess, what is it? The pamphlet for this. What he does is he will be hosting a college football game challenge for his new betting show. It's free to play. So what you just do is you go pick all the bowl games for college football that's coming up. You get a free entry, and first place gets $1,000. So I guess the more people that do this, so support Cam Rogers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now of how you can play this, and then I will put it hopefully in the show description. This came right to me at the last second before we started the show, but he's so thoughtful and gracious with our guests. Want to make sure, and hey, it's free. Go. Who doesn't like a free entry to try to just pick some teams, man? So that's fun right there. And then next up, one of the things we wanted to kind of do is make this show longer. It's 11:59, and we want to make this show longer. And I've been dying to do a little bit more than beyond the Panthers, or just the Panthers, and at least look around the NFL news briefly on the show for a moment. Tonight in NFL news, first and most interestingly and related to the Carolina Panthers, they have decided to go with Desmond Ridder. We mentioned this earlier, wondering why they hadn't, given their anemic offense that they've been putting together, but they have been in the hunt. I'm sure that they continue to look at themselves in the hunt for the NFC South as well, and probably thinking, man, Marcus Mariota gives us the best chance. But they decided to go with Ridder, but wildly, Marcus Mariota seemingly has not taken the news well, has left the team, guys. He's left the team.
So he left?
Yes. And I'll give you I had the quote. I'm going to pull the quote up. But yes, he was told this. They're going to end up putting him on injured reserve because he has a questionable knee. But he just quit, dude. He quit the team. That's what it seems like. And some people are having a hard time believing this, because particularly people that were fans of him in Tennessee, or at least saying things didn't work out or blah, blah, blah in Tennessee. But everything, I'm going to give you the quote from Arthur Smith. So you haven't heard about this?
I knew that they were going to start Desmond Ridder, but I hadn't heard anything about Mariota leaving.
Yeah, I didn't know he was leaving. Yeah.
But like, when you say leave, what, he just left the building, or they waived him, or what?
This is what they are. It says this. This is according to who wrote this story. This is on The Athletic right now. Is the Falcons don't know when. It's a Falcons head coach Arthur Smith knew he was taking a risk last week when he chose to make rookie Desmond Ridder his starting quarterback. What he didn't know at the time is he wouldn't have a safety net for the decision. That's how things turned out, though, when veteran Marcus Mariota left the team, at least temporarily, to have what Smith described as a chronic knee issue evaluated. The Falcons don't know when or if Mariota, who started 13 games this season, will return to the team, and they anticipate placing the quarterback on injured reserve. When asked about this, Arthur Smith said this: the knee, it is nothing that has been an issue this season, but that's Mariota's prerogative. So, of course, you want all your guys to be here, but guys have to make decisions. It's part of the professional sports. You have to have contingency plans. And then he was asked about how he took the news. And I don't know if it was in this order, but goes on to say this, is that those conversations are never easy. You try to be truthful, whether they agree or not. Those are conversations you have to have. So look, is that it seems like he would have played if he was a starter, the knee wouldn't have been problematic. He quit.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's I don't know. To me, it doesn't speak very well of Mariota. Like you're not a particularly.
It seems out of character. A lot of Mariota fans have said.
New Daddio in the chat room just said, he's been playing on a bad leg, but also if you're the Falcons, I completely understand it. Like they're doing what I wish the Panthers had the ability to do, and that's see what they have in their rookie quarterback that they drafted. To know what they have long term and to get them some meaningful playing time. I understand. Yeah, I understand that. And by the way, there's no guarantee that he stays healthy, right? So, okay, you're the backup. You need to be ready to go in.
I know. And you know what? He's been okay with that with the Raiders in different cases. CK, do the Falcons get better with Ritter?
I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say that he's going to be able to come in and make a difference in that offense. The Mariota thing, I think, probably stems from this was his last opportunity to prove he was a starter, right? And if you look at his numbers, he wasn't horrible, right? He was an okay quarterback. He just wasn't putting them over the top. And I think that if they didn't bench him, I think another team would be willing to take a flyer on him next year. So I think that's where his frustration probably lies, if I had to guess. Now, again, that's purely speculative. I don't know. We saw him, and it was clearly not the greatest quarterbacking on the face of the planet. But Desmond Ridder, I'm not entirely confident in after his draft video, where he said that I found out that I was a dad when my girlfriend told me that I was.
Well, one thing is that he did play pretty well in the preseason. He looked like Marcus Mariota was 184 for 300 passing with 2,219 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Other in the news, right? Related, I guess, continued the story. Greg doesn't want to hear his name anymore. Baker Mayfield. I guess this is not even news. Yeah, this is not even news. This was on the NFL.com. And I just saw Baker's name. Yeah. He's to start for the Pack. Like, why wouldn't he start? He came in and won the game like a day over. I don't even know how this is a story, to be honest.
It would be a bigger news story if he wasn't starting.
Yes, right. Yes. And the big blockbuster news last night, as the New England Patriots were able to, went on the road and defeated the Arizona Cardinals, and now have strangely entered into this weird conversation. People are like, should we believe in the Patriots? Hell no, you shouldn't. But Kyler Murray suffered a torn ACL in the first series, I think, of that game. Out for the season, non-contact injury. I didn't see it happen. Did anybody see it?
No.
But non-contact, turf related, continues to be part of the discussion.
The crazy story about to kind of watch up with this is I didn't see this injury because I wasn't going to watch this game last night. My fantasy football season was on the line, and the guy I was playing had Kyler Murray and Richardson from the New England, and both of them got injured in the first quarter in this game.
And really, really sad news here.
Yeah, it's sad.
Mike Leach, Mississippi State coach, has passed away. And anybody who really is just interested in trolling through someone's Twitter line, just look at my tweet, maybe from Monday of last week. And I just said this is Mike Leach. It's a national treasure. I spent my morning watching YouTube videos of him, and it just made my day better. This was last week, and Mike Leach is the best. He's got the wildest takes and stories in the history of the world. One of the best things you can ever watch is how he ranks the mascots for one of the conferences he played in, and like who would be the worst, hardest to fight or beat, like straight up. And it's this crazily in-depth and sophisticated answer. He has these wild takes about candy corn, these fun takes. It makes you love this dude. And there's all of these incredible stories out there. And his legacy was sort of tainted by this one incident where this one former player at Texas Tech claimed that he put him in a storage closet. All of that story was later debunked, it looks like. But Mike Leach is like a honest, crazy character, or was a crazy character. He's passed away now, and what people would describe as the godfather of the air raid offense. Lincoln Riley, former offensive coordinator for the ECU Pirates, Oklahoma Sooner coach who's just slayed it with Baker Mayfield. Kyler Murray, right, who has now got another Heisman winner, and the USC quarterback was first hired by Mike Leach as a student assistant, played under Mike Leach. So this guy, unfortunately, he suffered from a massive heart attack, passed away, I guess this morning or last night. Mike Leach, go watch his stuff on YouTube. It'll just make your life better. You'll realize this is that, you know, if you get upset about every single thing someone says imperfectly, you miss people who have great character and are truly, look, even talking press conference about what he's watching on TV, like Netflix.
Dude, he was incredible.
You know, he's a lawyer.
I mean, look, not only was he great to listen to on the mic, dude, he would say some outlandish shit.
Crazy.
But from a football perspective, this man is literally one of the most pivotal men in the implementing of the air raid offense. I mean, this is the guy. I mean, that West Coast air raid style of offense, Mike Leach is the guy. And by the way, that's why Mississippi State went out and hired him, because of his passing acumen and the type of offenses that he's been associated with. So, I mean, he is was a very well-respected guy in NFL circles. I feel terrible, man. Only 61 years old. I mean, he was the acting head coach of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. It's terrible. My thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, and rest in paradise.
Cliff Kingsbury coached under him. The list of people is like you said, the influence on the game of football. One of the things that was great about this is how it not only changed college football, it changed professional football as well. So he's just kind of part of the history of the game of football. We're getting close to Christmas. In fact, what is this? How does this work? Is it when they say you know about this, CK?
So yeah, basically what I'm gathering from this is the first day of the Merry Crispix, right? Is that what he called? Was that what, or Picmas? It was Picmas.
Pixmas.
Yeah. So basically this is the first day. It just dropped tonight here 10 minutes ago. So if you play a $25 entry, you will get a free $100 entry in addition to that. Or to be able to win an additional 100 for free. So basically what I'm gathering is you do your $25 and then you'll be able to do another $25 to win up to $100. If I'm gathering, I could be wrong on that, but you guys maybe correct me if that's basically what I'm gathering there.
One of the things though is that these plays have to be, if you read the kind of the fine print on this, play 25, get free entry to win 100. So if you play, all right, so they have a thing on Prize Picks where you get free entries.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't got one yet, but I think it's because I haven't been through my promotional funds. I think they give it to people who who aren't on their promotional funds anymore. But anybody who plays tomorrow plays $25 will then today, actually. You're right. Now, here's the catch with this is with now this is awesome. When you play $100, you get a free entry to win $250. So you're kind of getting a hedge on your entry with the opportunity to win even more. But here's the thing is it says this is with only players in action on 12/14. So you're gonna have to be on
something
that World Cup, NBA, something like that. But look out for more of these deals or these and they have these all the time. That's what's that's really cool about Prize Picks. They have Flex Friday where you get a free protected play up to $25. So you can just play $25. If you lose, it was a free entry ultimately. And if you win, you just win what you would have won. You get Taco Tuesdays where you get reduced amounts. You get free entries like Justin Herbert, right? So it's really fun to play Prize Picks. The promo code C3, make sure you use that. They have been our sponsor this season and have extended with us through January and February, but we'll still be talking about them despite that, because even when they're not a direct paid sponsor, we're going to still affiliate with them with that code because we like Prize Picks so much. So that's the C3 Panthers podcast, except for one last segment. The longest running Panthers podcast out there, the actual longest running podcast now, 3 hours and 13 minutes in. Now it's time to ice up. Now it's time for the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast, the Ice Up Picks, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. This is where everybody is fair game. We try to talk mainly about football on this show, but the Ice Up Picks is where we open our opinions in our life to anything and tell them to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Anybody chomping at the bit tonight?
Wait, hold on, man. We got to play this fire-ass drop.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
I'm icing you up. You know how things are done.
I forgot about the drop, too.
I'm getting tired,
Come
man.
on, man.
All right. Well, anybody chomping at the bit?
I'll go real quick. Mine's easy. As everybody been following me on this show and on my other show knows, I've been watching finally catching up on Game of Thrones. Finished it last weekend. Everybody who's watched this show has told me that I'm going to hate the ending, and I thought that maybe I could get through it, and I'd be like, okay, maybe I just won't hate it as much as everybody says. No, I absolutely hated the ending. It's absolutely terrible. So I'm icing up the writers. Who is it? Weiss and the writers,
Dave Benioff and
Benioff.
Dan Weiss.
Dan Weiss, yeah. I'm icing them up because it almost seems like you couldn't have written something worse than what you did. It's like you took every idea you had and said, well, what's the worst idea of that? How can we make this worse than that? And I don't understand where they were going with it. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen the show. That's 5-6 years old now. But to those guys who totally ruined the ending of the show, didn't ruin the show, but the ending of the show, ice up.
Ice up. I had mine pulled up. All right, so mine's pretty funny, or at least I think it is. I'm icing up when your mom walks into your room, and you're in the middle of doing something, and you just don't know that she's behind you, and you end up letting the language fly. Man, this will make sense after it, but my man didn't say shit.
Did you just curse? It sure sound like you said shit. I said sheesh. Oh.
Sheesh.
Hey.
He's quick-witted, though. You see that? He is quick-witted.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that kid jumped. He got so scared. He said,
I want to play that again. Listen to him and watch his jump.
Oh, shit.
Did you just curse? Did you just curse? It sure sound like you said shit. I said sheesh. Oh.
Yeah, automatically I go with this video fake.
You scared me.
You know, somebody on the other end of that listening to him was like, ha ha.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
So, yeah, I'm icing up when your mom walks in the room and you don't even know about it, and you're doing something wrong, saying something bad. And now it's on camera, man, so it's even worse. Ice up. I don't even know how I'm icing up, but that was fun. And play video cameras on your cell phone. How about that?
All right, my ice up pick goes to the crypto world and the crazy wild investing of this story that continues to unfold about the notable and clearly bad guy Bankman-Fried, who we should have known from the beginning. His name. Yeah, and that was the best tweet I've seen about it. But today they're investigating this in Congress right now. And the new CEO hired to guide FTX through bankruptcy testified today. And he said this. He said, it's an absence of record keeping. Employees would communicate invoicing and expenses on Slack, which is essentially a way of communicating in chat rooms. They used QuickBooks. A multi-billion-dollar company used QuickBooks. Representative Ann Wagner asked in shock, QuickBooks? And then he responded, QuickBooks. Nothing against QuickBooks. It's a very nice tool, just not for a multi-billion-dollar company. Ray, who oversaw Enron during this, he's the guy they brought in to clean up the Enron mess, this guy. So he's the fixer for these fraudulent companies that I guess that comes in for investors. And he said that this was worse than Enron. And the jokes immediately and the parallels immediately come to the scene in Breaking Bad, where Walter White's wife then goes to save her former employer who was committing tax fraud. And she acted like the ditzy woman. And she said that she used Quicken to do the books. And the guy in the IRS auditing agent in Breaking Bad said, Quicken for a company this size? Bankman-Fried in a multi-billion-dollar scheme to defraud everybody. Oh, by the way, on top of this, that all the money from FTX, they were just like giving without condition to his girlfriend to invest in the stock market and her hedge fund. No barriers between the two companies. It was people, basically rich kids smoking meth and getting people to give them money to party. QuickBooks, Bankman-Fried, bad guy, ice up. My question is, does this hurt or help QuickBooks reputation as a company? Like, you're like, hey, you might call it a tool, but hey, multi-billion-dollar companies even use it to screw you, to screw the government. Oh, QuickBooks, screw the government. That's my ice up. Bankman-Fried, notorious bad guy. By the way, he couldn't attend the congressional. He couldn't be interviewed because he's in jail in the Bahamas. That is the C3 Panthers pie. Oh, no, CK, what do you got? You got an ice up pick.
No.
Ice up COVID.
Ice up
you
COVID.
need to go to bed. You didn't have to muscle this hard. The number's 252-228-5098. We'll be back here tomorrow night for the beat check. Where we got Mark Burgeon helping us break down this Pittsburgh Steelers matchup. We'll be continuing to cover this on the Friday free-for-all. Saturday simulation will be fun, and the Sunday post game will be great. Cody Lashney in the house. How can they get after you? What are you doing on that drafttech.com?
Yeah, man. Tomorrow there's a brand new mock draft on drafttech.com. Picking number 9, so it's a different pick, because the Panthers pick keeps on moving down and down the board, closer to 32. Let's go. But check out my written comment or content on drafttech.com. And every Friday at 7 p.m., that's right, you can join the Friday free-for-all. Every Friday at 7 p.m., the show for Panther fans, by the Panther fans. You can join and be on the show just like us are doing right here, right now. And, yeah, man, that's about it. We'll also be back Sunday for the post-game show.
Greg, how can they get after you?
You can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter is my personal handle, or come check out my other show, Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse, live on Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. This week, I think we're talking about Doom Patrol, Willow, and some trailers, and wrapping up Game of Thrones.
CK?
You can find me at Codizzle Allen on most social media platforms. And, of course, the Madden Simulation, as Tony has alluded to in the previous statement. That's it for me.
Speaking of simulations, guy on Twitter just sent me this, at Mr. Strats. He sent this to the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy, and Cody too. He said, "This is my favorite sim outcome. Ran 10,000 simulations in a Monte Carlo sim, and it spit out this one first. And this would be." Look at this. Is the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
Loser in the Super Bowl. But hell, even the
Bowl.
simulations, even the computers are on our side as we trying to simulate success right now and turn it into real success. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We'll be back tomorrow at 8:30 at the latest, probably a little bit earlier, and rocking and rolling throughout the season. Make sure you guys show up to Bank of America and send us those pictures of you using the hashtag C3 Panthers podcast, hashtag C3. Let's get this. Protect the bank, Cody Lashney. Protect the bank.
Protect the bank, baby. Hey, man, C3 Panthers podcast signing out. You already know what to do, baby. Keep pound.